Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good afternoon to the West Coast. And whatever you do in Canada.
The North Coast.
This is the It's Erik Nagel Show, and that is me.
North Zone.
Phone lines are open, 866-969-1969. For if you want to kvetch and complain, or pay compliments, or try to win stuff later on in the program.
Bah,
whatever you want to do,
stuff.
Give us a call. It's Erik Nagel across the board on social media. That means Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Facebook, all that, the usual stuff.
Sure.
A lot to get to today.
A lot to get to today.
It might be a show where we might not get to everything.
What?
Which seems to be what we do here.
Say it isn't so, sweet Eric. Say it isn't so.
Later on in the program today, we are very excited about our guest lineup. Tom Hiddleston will be here.
Yes.
Ooh. You may know him as Loki in the Avengers movies.
I know him from that car commercial with all the British bad guys.
That's a good car commercial, actually.
You may know him as the Great Escapo in The Muppets Most Wanted.
There you go.
But he will be here to talk about his brand new movie. He's portraying Hank Williams in the biopic I Saw the Light.
Yes.
Later, after that, somewhere in the long future ahead, Melissa Benoist will be here. She's Supergirl on CBS.
She is.
Monday's a big day with Supergirl and Flash having a crossover. If you're into that stuff, this is kind of a big deal.
Wait, you said Supergirl's going to Flash?
Yes.
On a crossover?
Right.
Whoa.
You heard it here first. Exclusive. Get it out to TMZ, Lewis.
Tell Jeb Bush.
Right.
X kind of hot.
X Supergirl.
I'm sure that exists somewhere.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But she'll be here later in the program, and in just a couple of minutes, we're going to talk to our old pal, Alan Zweibel.
Who we love having on the show, but unfortunately, this isn't the cheeriest of circumstances.
No, if you're not aware, of course, Gary Shandling has passed away. Gary Shandling being one of my favorite comics and having two of my favorite shows, which we've discussed at in depth in the past on this program. Specifically, it's the Gary Shandling Show.
We sang the theme to It's the Gary Shandling Show on this show in the past. So, that tells you something.
So we'll talk to him in just a tiny bit to talk about everything Gary Shandling and what's been going on with there. And then we'll mix in some other things. Batman vs. Superman. Just a teaser. We're not getting into that now. We're going to save that for a little bit later. But let's go around the room, see who's here. To my right is my co-host, Matt OG, Geek Stuff OG on Twitter and Instagram.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am good.
What's up?
You've had an easy day getting into the city?
I did. Well, luckily my company observes Good Friday, so I had off most of the day today. I'd spend some time with my son, who somehow decided he was Tevye earlier today. We were out at Dunkin' Donuts, and a commercial came on for Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, yeah?
And as he's singing If I Were a Rich Man, he puts his hands in the air like Tevye, and then hands on the hips and face to the side. And it just...
Did he put his hands on his hips and then you dip?
I dip, we dip. No, he did not do that. No, but he definitely did channel Tevye in that brief moment.
Has he seen Fiddler on the Roof? Or was it just like he just did it out of the blue?
As far as I know, he has never seen nor heard Fiddler on the Roof. Now,
what are they teaching at that preschool?
Well, I was going to say they play a lot of music at that preschool, so it's possible.
If he comes home one day going, sunrise, sunset.
Yeah. I hope he puts on a babushka and sings Matchmaker personally. But yeah, so that was fun. So we had that going for us.
Nice.
So yeah, that was it. Okay. And then I was here. And then the city was beautiful. It was easy to get in. And I ate at some new sandwich place I've never eaten at either. Potbelly something or other.
Potbelly's is not a new sandwich place.
It was new for me.
Okay.
And it was delicious.
I call it upscale Subway.
It's like, amazing.
Yeah.
There's one really in the concourse below Rockefeller Center.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's not the one that I went to, but excellent.
I've been going there for the longest time. They have a sandwich. Their signature sandwich is called the Wreck.
Okay.
Oh, that one's good.
It's amazing. And they make it in a salad form.
Oh,
which is also amazing.
I had a very simple, turkey and swish on flatbread, but it was perfectly toasted. And I noticed that they did not toast it, or they toasted it prior to putting the lettuce and tomato on.
Yeah.
Which for me is key, because unlike places like Quiznos, I don't remember if you remember that, but they used to toast it after everything was on there, and then the lettuce would just be
brown
and soggy.
And then you have
and the bread gets all wet.
Stewed tomatoes.
They also have banging pickles there too, by the by.
And they will put as many pickles on that sandwich as you want.
No,
so
I'm talking about the big,
no, they don't put them on there.
Pickles you can just buy.
It's like the big glass jar where they with tongs they go in and dip it out.
They have pickles as a condiment as well for your sandwich, but they sell the big giant kosher pickles in the jar, and it was super crispy. You know, kind of like a Vlasic. It was nice.
I like those big pickles. Like, so I think they're like $1 too. They're not that bad.
No, not at all.
They weigh like 1.5 pounds.
Yeah. So Potbellies, thumbs up.
And Giddles is here. Hi.
Hey, what's going on, man?
You follow pickles and sandwich talk.
Hey, that's perfect for me.
How you been?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Hanging. Just got out of the movies.
Really? What'd you go see?
I went to go see Bat Person versus Superhuman. It was pretty something.
All right.
We'll talk about that later.
There's a lot to go on with that.
Steel versus the Knight of Gotham, or whatever the heck that line is.
It was, yeah.
If you want, on E-Rock Radio on Instagram, I posted a spoiler of the final fight scene
Yes, I
of
saw
Batman vs. Superman. So go check that out, and then we'll talk about the movie a little bit later. I see our guest is on the phone, so let's go to Mr. Alan Zweibel. He is a legendary comedy writer from the original 5 years of Saturday Night Live, co-creator of It's Gary Shandling Show and various other books and projects, and a good friend of Gary Shandling. And Mr. Zweibel, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. How are you?
Doing all right. It was a very sad day yesterday when I saw it pop up on... Well, actually, before I saw it on TMZ, somebody wrote, and a lot of people saying, this can't be right, this is a hoax. And then the TMZ article came up that Gary Shandling had passed away.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to him over the weekend. I was in L.A., and we talked about getting together. It didn't work out, and we were talking about the possibility of our show, It's Gary Shandling Show, you know, being syndicated, and we were going to meet about that. And then he said, all right, listen, let's speak during the week. And we made plans to speak Thursday night, which was last night. So how spooky was that, you know?
Oh, man.
Did you were you aware of anything? Like, did he have anything wrong that the public didn't know about?
Not if he did, I didn't know about it either.
Wow.
You know, like anybody who's 66, you know, there were issues along the way, but nothing that would lead one to think, oh, boy, you know, this contributed to it or whatever. No. Now, there might have been. I'm just unaware of it.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of the public was... Anytime somebody of celebrity passes away, unless it's immediately known why they passed away, they say this person passed, this was his age, that's all the information they have for now. And it usually takes a little while before stuff rolls out. And this seems to be the case because every comic that I saw post about Gary Shandling had really amazing things to say about him. Amy Schumer said that he helped her out a lot. Conan did a big tribute on his show yesterday, which was just hours after the death announcement of Gary Shandling passing. Did a whole big thing about how Gary helped him during the downtime when he lost the NBC gig.
Sure.
And figuring out what he was going to do at TBS. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but the story is very amazing of the two of them hanging out in Hawaii for a week, and Conan just blew off his family on a vacation. It's really funny. So go online and you can find the clip there and check that out. But a lot of comics were saying, and even younger comics who you wouldn't expect the old guard to really be interacting with some of the newer guard, with the newer comedians, were saying it's like every time we talked to Gary, he always had these amazing anecdotes and words of wisdom and stories and stuff like that. And he really seemed like the kind of guy that wanted to help people, especially comedians.
Well, see, that's the thing. The anecdotes and the stories are all fine. We all have them, you know. But the thing about Gary was, and the thing that the outpouring that you're seeing is one of great gratitude among fellow comedians and among writers. He was a great writer, you know. And I've been really lucky to have some terrific collaborators during my career, like Gilda Radner and Herb Sargent. And I wrote Billy Crystal's show, 700 Sundays, with him, you know, and I've had some really wonderful people that I've worked with. But Gary was special. He was a disciplined, brilliant writer. And if speak to Sarah Silverman, speak to Judd Apatow, speak to these people who've got these wonderful careers that include writing. And everyone will tell you, and I'm telling you straight out myself, I'm a better writer because of Gary.
I think that's exactly what Conan said, too. Conan said, for those who don't know, before I was doing television, I was a writer. Even before The Simpsons, he was a writer. Right. And Gary was telling him stories. I think did Gary work on Sanford and Son?
Yeah, he wrote for Sanford and Son and Welcome Back, Kotter.
Right. Oh, wow. And he was talking Conan about how he spent years writing and then writing in television before, while doing a stand-up, but before getting any notoriety as being a stand-up and getting the recognition from Johnny Carson and eventually filling in as a guest host, and then, you know, the doors just opened from there. So,
the thing with Gary was, you know, when we did our show, it's Gary Shandling's show. I had come from SNL. He had come from writing, like I said, Welcome Back, Kotter and Sanford and Son. We both had we both had the similarity that we had, aside from just making each other laugh, was that we both knew what the straight line was. We both knew what everybody else did. When I was with SNL, back then, you know, a variety show like Carol Burnett, we go, okay, the Carol Burnett show would do it this way. How are we going to do it? And when we started this Gary Shandling show, it was, we would say, okay, an ordinary sitcom would do it this way. How are we going to do it? So I found a real kindred spirit there. And he was a guy who loved television, but at the same time, he knew what he was making fun of. He was paying homage to it at the same time that he was parodying it, and that's a real hard thing to do. But Gary knew how to walk that line.
And Gary, not just comedy and writing, he didn't do too many. I don't know if it was by choice or they just didn't use him enough. But when he did get a movie role, he was amazing in it. Like the most recent ones that come to mind, he was Senator Stern in the Marvel universe for Iron Man, for Captain America, Winter Soldier. But he was also, I'm forgetting, what's the alien movie where all the aliens look like him?
Oh, What Planet Are You From?
Yeah. I mean, not a blockbuster by any means, but his role was great in it.
No, well, Gary was smart, and he was a student of what he did and what he was doing. And what drove people a little crazy, and I mean this in a good way, is that while he had a natural wit to him, he was very deliberate. There was an attention to detail, and there was a commitment to what he was writing or how he was acting, and he had a basically infuse himself with it. It had to go through him and become a part of him. So the process for Gary was very long and sometimes torturous because it just wasn't, okay, I'll do it, and he just did it. He had to embody it. And so I think what you're picking up on, if I may, is that commitment that he was making to whatever character he played, even if the character had nothing to do with him, you know what I mean, or was nothing like him, he really examined everything. He was very, very deliberate.
I know we've talked about this in the past, but it just feels only right to reiterate again. Alan, when you were on the show, the love that and appreciation that Matt and I had for It's Gary Shandling's show.
Absolutely.
When we were younger, of course, it was one of those weird shows where not only broke the rules of how sitcoms were done, but as far as syndication went as well. You told the story about, because we watched it on Fox as kids, but it was really a Showtime show, and you brokered an amazing deal a couple years after the initial launch of the show to get it on network television. And to this day, it's still not happening. You don't see stuff that's on HBO or AMC, whatever, show up on a broadcast channel, even well past the point of the show debuting.
Well, yeah, what had happened was we did it for Showtime, and nobody was watching it. There was this show that everyone had heard of, and the critics embraced it. And back then, I don't even think that there were like the same kind of ratings for cable. Basically, what they did was they renewed a show or not based on people's subscribing. If it got more subscribers, if more people subscribed to Showtime, let's say, because they heard of this show and they wanted to see it, that was good. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to getting an out rating. And we were nobody was seeing it, and so when Fox came into existence, a deal was made that 30 days after the initial showing of one of our shows on Showtime, I would edit it so that it down to broadcast standards, which is like 22 minutes. Because on Fox, I could do 29 minutes. There were no commercials, right?
Right.
I had to take out of time. I had to put in slots where I had to clean up some of it if it wasn't, clean enough for broadcast standards, and also insert commercials. So 30 days after it originally aired on Showtime and nobody saw it, it went to Fox, where nobody saw it there either.
Except for me and Eric, apparently.
They put us and Tracy Ullman on at like 10 o'clock and 10:30 at night on Sunday.
Right.
And and
this was, for people who don't know or maybe do know the history of the Fox network, Fox was only on at night. It wasn't a full day network yet. It had affiliates, and this was also right before the phenomenon of Married with Children and The Simpsons, which eventually elevated Fox to being what it is. Gary Shandling and Tracy Ullman were like the OG programming of Fox.
And both of those shows were the shows I had to sneak watch, which I think probably cemented them in my childhood as, that made them more special because it was supposed to be after bedtime. But I made sure I watched both of them religiously.
Oh, that's nice to hear. I just wish there were more of you.
I wish there were more 8-year-olds sneaking downstairs and watching all this inappropriate humor.
Oh, man. Well, there's talk now, of finally getting It's Gary Shandling Show either, back on Showtime or some streaming places, because it should be seen, it should be discovered. It was so ahead of its time. It's been sort of frustrating for me and Gary that, a box set came out of DVDs a couple of years ago,
which I have,
and we wanted this to be seen, so hopefully.
It's not even on like Netflix or anything.
Nowhere.
Right?
It seems like a natural, isn't it? But I know that, under these circumstances, and, it's all over YouTube, the song that Gary and I wrote, the theme song.
Which Matt and I are impromptu to sing.
Oh, well, how we wrote that song was interesting. We went into an elevator on the 6th floor of a building, okay? And he looks at me and he says, we're going to need a theme song. I go, what should it be? He says, well, what if we just, and he starts going, this is the theme to Gary's show. This is the theme to Gary's show. And I said, Gary called me up and asked if I would write his theme song. And then he said, I'm almost halfway finished. How do you like it so far? I said, how do you like the theme to Gary's show? And then he said, this is the theme to Gary's show. Gary's show. And then I said, this is the music that you hear while you watch the credits. Then he said, I'm almost to the part. And I said, where we start to whistle. and then we both said, then we'll watch It's Gary Shandling Show. And then we started whistling. And then one of us was probably Gary said, this was the theme to Gary Shandling Show. And by the time we got to the lobby, we had a theme song. It was the stupidest thing. It was like two kids making up a song, right? And being silly. And we went, hey, okay, let's go to lunch. We got a song.
I've never seen so much hard work and creative effort be put into anything to make it sound like and seem like you didn't care about what you were doing.
That's really funny. No. Yeah, I really went out of my way to make it look like it just came naturally, right? No, actually, we stayed up night and day, and we were grungy and stuff. No, it was as simple as that. And that's the kind of chemistry he and I had with each other. We just knew if something seemed like it was right,
Alan, is there anything you can tell us outside of, well, first, I'm a little annoyed because now all the news is publishing, the legendary, broke all these television boundaries with 2 television shows that reset the industry. Up until maybe when we were talking about it, you never saw people talking about It's Gary Shandling Show. And they should have, but they didn't. They always went to Larry Sanders Show. Great program. I mean, iconic. Everybody loves that show, but nobody really gave the first program its due. Like they always said, Gary, was an amazing stand-up comedian, a regular on The Tonight Show, a permanent guest host for The Tonight Show, was one of the heirs to maybe even take over for that, and then he turned stuff. It was infamous news stories about him turning down $5 million deals for The Tonight Show, for the show after The Tonight Show, whoever was going to take it, and then went to do Larry Sanders. They always focused on Larry Sanders, and I just think that was a shame.
Well, I appreciate that, and it was a frustration to the two of us. That's why we came out with that box set a couple of years ago. And like I said, I'm sure hoping that this show will be rediscovered. It was a great frustration. I understand why Larry Sanders was a focal point, because it was on HBO. Everybody got it. It was well received. It was widely watched. When he and I were doing our show on Showtime, cable wasn't even eligible for Emmy awards. They had these stupid things called the Cable Ace Awards, which looked like these hood ornaments. They're the ugliest things you've ever seen. And it was only our last year of its Gary Shandling show that cable shows were eligible for Emmys, and he and I were nominated. We didn't win, but by the time Larry Sanders came along and it was on HBO, which everybody had access to, right, it was frustrating but understandable.
Yeah, was for most of America, that chose the hotel you went to because it had free HBO.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
What could you tell us outside of the industry with your personal relationship with Gary? What could you tell us about the man himself?
The guy had the biggest heart in the world. People will tell you funny anecdotes, and they'll tell you how grateful they are to him because he was helpful to their career. I know that he was a good friend, and I know that he was so generous in spirit that he'd do anything for anyone. We had a home invasion when we were living in L.A. First call I made was to Gary, because I knew he was friends with Gavin DeBecca, who was an expert when it came to security and things like that. And I had, a couple of years ago, all of a sudden my face fell. I had Bell's palsy, and Gary caught wind of it. And every specialist in the world, he was on the phone. He would go, he was a really good friend. He was a really sincere guy. He was very in his own way. Back then, he was into crystals before anybody was. He had a cabin up in Big Bear in outside of L.A. He would go there and just think, and there was a spirituality about him. He was very grounded that way. And the only thing that he had trouble with was being inside of his own body. Uneasy. Do you know what I mean? And I remember when we moved to L.A. to do his show, we have 3 kids, and they were young at the time, and Gary would come over, and he would approach each one as if they were like plutonium. He wouldn't know how to touch them or to play with kids. Dogs.
Really heavy gloves.
With big gloves and the suit and the helmet.
Rubber tongs.
Close them down.
Mr. Fusion.
There you go. And there was isolation boards. It was the whole thing, and detox, He had it's just like when the astronauts came back from outer space. They had to be in that special chamber for about a month. But he was genuinely funny and genuinely smart, and you'll hear that over and over and over again. And the tributes like Conan and those are legion. People saying when they first met him how he helped them, how he gave them a break. On his Gary Shandling show alone, aside from he and I, Tom Gamble and Max Pross, who I brought out, they did my last year of SNL, and then they went on to do Letterman. They came to do its Gary Shandling show, and from there they went on to The Simpsons, okay?
Right.
Jake Hogan, who was an assistant of mine, went on to produce The Simpsons for years. Ed Solomon, who wrote Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and Men in Black, he worked on that show. Gary attracted all of them. Everyone wanted to work with Gary, and that was, that's really his legacy within the creative community.
Why was he you never saw or heard anybody in the industry or a comedian say anything bad about Gary? And, being an amazing writer and an amazing stand-up, why was he so reserved. Like when he was not in the spotlight, he was really not in the spotlight. You never saw him anywhere. Never like TMZ stuff or new stuff ever popped up where he was out on vacation somewhere and they had photos or whatever he was doing. He was very withdrawn from society, and that doesn't really seem like the mentality of most comics.
Well, that's absolutely right. And the question that I was always asked, because people knew the relationship, right? I was asked this recently this past weekend while he was alive and well. What's Gary up to? You don't see him on TV. You don't see his name at clubs. You know, he's not in Las Vegas. You don't see him on other shows.
Yeah, he's not dropping in by the Comedy Store. And again, not doing the big residencies in Vegas or anywhere in New York.
And to be frank with you, I don't know what he did. You know, I know that for a while he was thinking of doing stand-up, and he was. And I went it must be 10 years ago now. You know, we're talking decades at this point, all right? And he was doing new stuff that had nothing to do with being single and the things that made him famous, right? It was like as if he turned 50 or 55 and he grew up and he was talking about politics and he was just talking about social stuff, and it was hilarious. And I said, my God, he's so smart. He's totally reinventing himself. And then for whatever reason, and I can't answer why, that got derailed. So the question was, where is he? What's he doing? And it's such a waste of such wonderful talent. And I know that I had more than one conversation with him where I'm going, the world needs to hear your voice. Where are you? And he would just basically be somewhat evasive when it came to answering that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wish he was out doing one. Like, I really was hoping at some point, and I know he's very rarely made trips to the East Coast, but I was hoping at some point that, you know, he would be up here at SiriusXM doing something or an event that we had some kind of tie to just to meet the guy. Because I loved It's Gary Shandling show so much. I loved the Larry Sanders show. His stand-up comedy, when he would do stand-up comedy, was amazing. Everybody knows that infamous bit about driving past cows and mooing at them, and the cows going, how did the cows learn to drive and get a car? I mean, it was just weird, obscure thinking that made this guy an amazing comedian, and his writing made him a legend on that. And it's just sad that I wish I got a chance to meet the gentleman, but I don't know what more to say about Mr. Shandling.
No, you would have liked him. You would have found him intriguing. What you would have found is somebody incredibly cerebral, somebody who maybe took a little bit too long to answer a question because his process was to let it go through him, mull it over. That doesn't mean he wasn't quick-witted, but at the same time, he was very, very deliberate.
So he took his time to think things out instead of just, like most comedians, rapid fire trying to throw something out there and see what hits the wall. He's like, no, I'll take my time, and then when I hit you pretty damn hard.
He knocked you over when he hit you. But like I said, he was quick-witted, but he wasn't in competition. If he was at a table with other comedians, he didn't feel the need to top anybody or to match wits.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't his style.
Well, it's a very sad day in the world of comedy, in the world of television, that Gary Shandling has left us way too soon. Mr. Alan Zweibel, is there anything you would like to plug?
Let's see. My most recent book is doing real well, and there's talk of making it into a movie. It's a middle grades book that I wrote with a guy named Adam Mansbach called Go to F to Sleep. That was a book that he wrote. He and I wrote a book called Benjamin Franklin, Huge Pain in My Ass. So he went from F to S. So that was a little step up for him. And there's talk of making that into a movie. And I'm also going to be writing the script for a Broadway musical version of the movie Field of Dreams. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool.
If you want to write to Mr. Zweibel, it's Alan, A-L-A-N, Zweibel, Z-W-E-I-B-E-L on Twitter. Yep. He's very vocal with the public. He likes to interact and talk. And, Alan, I can't thank you enough for calling in and discussing the legend Gary Shandling, your friend. And he will be sorely missed.
Thanks a lot for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Come back as soon as you're ready to do the Broadway musical. Come back in and say hi and come hang with us.
I'll be there. I'll help set up. I'll buy donuts and everything.
All right, we will do. We'll have a nice spread for you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
No, man.
Thank you,
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Sad day.
I
was really upset when I read that, and I walked right downstairs, and I said, all right, here's what I'm doing. I got the box set out again, and I said, you know what? I don't think I really finished season 4, so that's going to be my goal this weekend after trying to stomach Batman vs. Superman tomorrow afternoon. A lot to get to with that. But,
lot to.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, you're excused, Eric.
You can see how upset my stomach got over the thought of Batman vs. Superman. But that's going to take a while, so we'll do that a little bit later. We might have another phone call coming in about 20 minutes. So I don't want to plug it yet, but let's just space it out and see what we can do.
Just see if it just rings.
Sure. See what it rings. The gentleman is an important gentleman, so we got to go based on his clock.
He's a fancy gentleman?
He's on a time schedule.
Not fancy. He can be kind of a dick, but he's important in his community.
All right.
I'll say that. Take that tease for what you will. Let's try talking about Daredevil for a little bit.
Are we okay? So I still haven't finished this season.
All right, you can leave.
All right, goodbye.
Daredevil season 2 came out last Friday.
Yes.
For Netflix.
Yes.
And we strongly recommended, if you saw season 1, there was no need for us to tell you to see season 2.
Correct.
If you hadn't seen season 1, that was where you should start. And it's an amazing story. I plowed through it. Like most of America, I know you had other things to do, but you've gone through a healthy amount of episodes.
I've made it through 9 episodes. I think there's 13 total, and it's not just that I've had other things to do, because it's certainly a priority to get through it. But like I've said on this program many times before, I try not to binge shows that I really, really like past 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah,
because
you want to space it out.
No, it's not even that I want to space it out, but just...
Do you want to savor it?
It's not even that I want to savor it. It's that by the time I get through that second episode, especially Daredevil is a little heavy in a good way, but like by the time I get to that 3rd episode, it starts to wane on you. And so what happens is my attention naturally starts to like slip a little bit, and I want to give that show 100%. So a lot of it is...
That's interesting that you go the exact opposite way, because I feel the same way you do, but then I get to the point where it's an addiction, and I'm like, I need to watch the next one, and I take it all in.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I feel like I want to watch the next one, but I also know that like, all right, I'm starting to check my phone.
Yep.
I'm starting to get hungry. I gotta pee. And I know that I'm not going to give this 4th episode 100%.
All right, hold on. Let me help you with the pee problem, all right?
Yeah.
You transfer it to your phone.
Right.
So while you're watching, you pause what you're doing, you pick it up on your phone, and you take it with you.
Yeah, but I'm watching with my wife. That would be awkward. Could you come to the bathroom with me?
That's not your problem.
Yeah, I have the problem, like, I'll binge something, and I'll get really into it for, like, 4 episodes,
right.
And then I'll do the same thing. I'll be like, I'm going to take a break, and then the break that I'm going to take, where I want to do it for, like, 2 days, ends up being a month,
right.
And then I forgot everything that happened, because all 4 episodes I watched feel like one episode, and then I have to go back and rewatch, and then I get to that same point, and then I stop again.
Another show that I really, really like is Orphan Black, right?
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
last season, I think season 3
or as
is
Roland calls
soon.
it, Orphan is the new black.
Yes. Season 3 coming soon, by the way. But season 2, I remember somewhere around the middle of the season, I binged like 6 episodes in like a day and a half. And after I watched those 6 episodes, I went to go watch the 7th episode, and I'm like, wait a second, they're talking about stuff. Am I watching the wrong episode?
Yep.
No, it was in the episode that I had literally just watched the day before, and I was like, holy shit, I clearly didn't pay attention at all to that episode. My attention had just faded. So I had to go back, and it's like, no, I'm just going to slow down. Like, I'll just take it in chunks that I know I can give it 100%. My other mid-season review, I guess I'm further than mid-season. My 3/4 review is, and this is going to cause controversy because I've already been yelled at about 100 times for saying this. I don't think that it's better than season 1. I don't think that it's worse than season 1, but I don't think that it's better than season 1. I think that it's on par with season 1.
My roommate loved it. He watched the whole thing like one day. He came out, he's like, "Oh my god, season 2 is so much better." But I still haven't finished season 1.
And without giving away plot points, without giving away spoilers, without even referencing specific things on the show, here's why I say what I just said. Every single episode of season 1, I was on the edge of my seat. I wanted to see that episode 100%. I gave it 100% focus. It was awesome. There have been a couple of pieces of the story in season 2 where I've been like,
are they just like filler episodes? Or are they just trying to do too much backstory, too much character development?
I kind of feel like they're trying to
think so at all.
Personally, I feel like they're distracting from what I feel is the more important story.
Punisher killing everybody?
And I don't even think that... All right. Some of the Elektra stuff, I think, is kind of pushed in there, and I don't. Elektra. And I don't hate her. I think Elodie Young is fantastic. I think she's a great actress. I think she's nailed the role. But when you're in the middle of a really intense storyline
with the Punisher,
or even with Karen and Foggy, and then it just breaks to like Daredevil and Elektra doing their thing, and my attention is just like, really, can we please get back to like the shit that I care about? And it's not that the Elektra stuff isn't good or not important. I understand where it fits in, but it's like it just feels like it's detracting from the part of the story that I really want to watch. I almost wish that like the Elektra stuff was like season 3. You know what I mean? Or like season 2.5 or something weird. It just feels weird how they're breaking the episodes up to put it in there.
Are they setting up for an Elektra show? That's going to be like a spin-off with Punisher?
What they're absolutely 100% setting up is the Defenders.
Okay.
100. I haven't finished the season, so I could be wrong in the last 4 episodes. They are 100% setting up the villain that is going to be too big for any one of these heroes to take on themselves. And it's going to lead to the Defenders.
There's an article out. I don't know if the director of Daredevil is also directing the Defenders, but somebody who's working on both projects said that it wasn't confirmed, but he said, I would like to have Elektra involved with the Defenders.
There's I can't, she's too important of a character in the Marvel Universe and in Daredevil's life for her to just be one and done with this season.
Right.
And she would fit into the Defenders. I could see where she would work. But some of the stuff is just like...
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. You're not done with the season yet. Wait till you're done, and then we'll revisit this next week and see if your opinion changes. Sure. But based on what you're saying about the story with the Punisher and Elektra, and it was like you don't see why they're splitting everything up. I didn't think about it actually, you know what? I was aware of it, forgot about it, and then remembered it again as you were talking about this. It seems like the Punisher should have been the A story. And... her and Karen and Foggy, the B story that hovers just under the A story, right? And what the fuck is that?
That's amazing.
This is the A story.
Go over there. Hang on a second.
This is amazing. Hold on. Wait a second.
That's like an Erik Nagel Plinko chip from like Price is Right.
Lewis just walked in like Cena with the spinner belt.
Like, what is this? E-Rock?
Yeah.
Erik Nagel Mardi Gras?
Hop over there, Lewis, really quick.
Oh, no.
Way to do it in the middle of a story, by the way.
Sorry about that.
What is that?
This is the, it's Erik Nagel logo. I thought it would be hot to have it made.
It looks like Mardi Gras bling.
Marty Blah.
Marty Blah.
Marty Blah.
Are you saying that because he's a blah person?
Wow.
Remember that?
Good pickup there, sir.
So I figured I would just have it made. A couple friends of mine. We're around Comic-Con when we go, maybe hanging up in the office.
He is the Flavor Flav of It's the Erik Nagel Show.
Seriously.
You know what time it is.
You took a photo
This
of
clock
that, right?
only works for 3 hours.
No, it came out mad blurry. I gotta have to get another
Lewis,
shot
you're
of it
not
later.
going anywhere. Hang on. Wow. This is like a giant coaster.
That's amazing.
Wow.
I want to walk around San Diego with that.
Did this cost money?
Not for me.
All right, come over here. We're taking a photo.
Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, well,
That should be the T-shirt.
Phil.
The picture of Lewis wearing that should be the T-shirt.
Hold on. We'll get
Oh
a
my
photo
God,
of
this is
right
great.
Here. Oh, this is starting to look like a mugshot. That's not
Oh,
good.
jeez, Eric.
Here, turn your ideas around. So people think. There we go. Ready? Oh, don't move. There we go. Okay.
all right, you have to share that.
Can I see that?
Oh
You
my
have to
God.
share that immediately.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So Lewis walked in. He made his own. He made his own show bling. Thank you. I mean, I'll give this back to him. I'm not going to keep
come here. I want to wear that for the rest of the show.
I
Yeah,
gotta take
seriously,
one
you
more
should
photo.
wear
We're
that.
not talking about it until I tweet it out.
We should make all the guests wear it while we interview them.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Yeah, you have to wear the ceremonial necklace.
There we go.
Wow.
All right, you can pass this along here. And while you look at that, I'll finish the Daredevil story.
See, that's your logo for like your superhero. That's Eric's Daredevil logo.
That's my Iron Man power
you
source.
open the shirt and it just says, it's Erik Nagel.
Ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah, put it on.
I'm wearing this for the rest of the show.
All right.
So
it's hanging right over your crotch. Nobody wants to touch it now.
Well, that was on purpose. So my dick touches it, I keep it.
You look
Isn't that
super
how that
cool
works?
with that on.
That's the new rule. If your dick touches it, you keep it.
Yep.
Let's imply that around the building here. There's some equipment down that hallway I'd like to take home.
I just claimed a sandwich.
Yeah. Why are we paid?
Here, I'm passing this on to you.
Yeah.
I'm about to go in the kitchen. I'm breaking claim a lot of shit. Just saying.
Feel how heavy that is.
It's nice.
That is amazing.
That could bludgeon a child.
It's
yeah.
a weapon of mass destruction.
We need these on shields.
Right.
Little tiny shields.
That's well thought out there, Lewis.
We
Yeah,
could cosplay as It's Erik Nagel hosts for San Diego.
Yeah, let's see if we can make some smaller ones, like for Mardi Gras or something.
There you go.
Comic-Con. Let's take them to Comic-Con.
That's what I'm screaming. Give them out.
All right.
Let me know.
And then everyone is going to look at it and go, I don't know what this is, and we'll see it
doesn't-
all over the Comic-Con floor.
That's it.
Just like every flyer for somebody that has some kind of party or podcast or web blog and
Did you tweet
all that
that out
stuff.
yet?
No, I'm going to in a minute.
All right.
We kind of have a show here to do. So
That'd be great if that was like a little like lazy Susan. You put it on the table. Like, oh, someone passed the salad. Oh, it's Erik Nagel.
Oh my God.
I'll put it. We'll make a mock of Meat Spin.
Yeah.
And just have the logo spinning while it's right, dead or alive.
Yeah.
That emblem right there is the Elektra storyline of the It's Erik Nagel show.
Oh, it just comes in and distracts everything?
Comes in and distracts everything.
Let's get
Bring
back
it full circle.
Let's get back to
that
Daredevil
is a
here,
circle.
season 2.
Bringing us back. Bringing us back.
Daredevil season 2.
Yes, Daredevil season 2.
Here's the issue. So the Punisher should be the A story
Yes.
with Punisher being introduced, a mass killing, and then the court case, and then whatever happens past the court case, I'm not going to get into because you haven't finished the season yet. So that should be the A story and the main focus. Foggy and Karen, a B story just under the A story there. And Elektra should be a B story that's gone to every now and then. What they're doing is they have 2 A stories happening and they split it. It's like watching, if you watched it as a split screen, Punisher stories over here, Elektra stories over here, and it's happening at the same time. And I think that's what what you think is taking away from the show.
And again, it's not that I don't like her. I think she's fine. It just feels weird. But it's still an amazing show. And John Bernthal as Punisher, wait till you get to episode 9. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to give you the episode number. Wait till you get to
He's
episode
a good Punisher?
9. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Does Elektra's costume look as bad as it did in the movie?
No, actually, her costume is very appropriately adapted for the modern Marvel universe. Jesus Christ, that was a tongue twister.
That was a lot of M's.
Yes, no, it looks fine. It's fine for what it is. But I haven't seen her use the size yet. She doesn't use the size, does she? I don't think I've seen
Like
that.
Raphael's size?
Yeah, well, that's what she has in the books, too. She uses size, but I don't think I've seen those. But it's great. It's really good what I've seen so far. John Bernthal is fantastic. I think Karen's story, by the way, is actually really interesting. I like her character development.
I like that she realized the hand was forced that she can't be with both of them, and she wants the ideal setting is for the law firm.
Sure,
but she's kind of being forced out of that and forced out of Matt Murdock's life.
Sure,
that she's discovering she can be her own person.
Right,
and going into this weird Lois Lane kind of angle.
Yeah, I kind of like it though. I'm okay with it. I'm feeling it. But there you go. There's Daredevil season 2.
So, as much as we can tell you, because Matt hasn't finished,
and Brian hasn't seen it at all.
Yeah, I still have to finish season 1. I'm behind. I just told you my binge situation. I binge things, and I forget, and then I go back, and I got to start again.
You know what? I'm going to have to get you one of those electric shock collars that if you don't finish it, you get shocked.
Oh, man. But here's my question. So they've introduced like Elektra and now Punisher, and being that Daredevil is the first Netflix Marvel Universe show, correct?
That's correct.
So is Punisher and Elektra going to be in Jessica Jones and Luke Cage? Are they going to be able to spread onto those storylines? Like, how is it all going to tie together?
I think that they probably could, but I don't think that they will.
They made a mention of Jessica Jones in this season of Daredevil.
Okay.
They don't. And the DA is
I don't think they mentioned
the
Luke
DA
Cage, right?
on season 2 of Daredevil is in Jessica Jones. She's in, I think, 1 episode or 2 episodes.
Carrie Ann Moss.
No, not Carrie Ann Moss. The DA, De Rivera, whatever her name is. I'm pretty sure she was in an episode of Jessica Jones.
Right. You're right.
Yeah, and so they make mention of Jessica. They actually, I think they name dropped Jessica Jones at one point in the episode.
Yeah, well, they were at the bar.
Yeah, right. So I think that they can. certainly, I mean, Rosario Dawson has, crossed over into both shows so far. Luke Cage. They make mention of Luke Cage as well.
That's why I was just asking. Yeah, I was trying to remember if they said Luke Cage.
Yeah. So, yeah, they can, and certainly they're all going to team up for the Defenders. So it's all.
What's the next series coming out?
Luke Cage is in November. Next year is Jessica Jones season 2, and then Iron Fist season 1. I suspect that's going to be followed by the Defenders, and then if we're going to get a Punisher spinoff, that's when it's going to be, because they haven't announced Daredevil season 3 yet, which is weird because last year by this time I'm pretty positive season 2 had been announced, but I think it's because they're building up to the Defenders and they want to get through that first.
So is Defenders like a Justice League type thing? Like what kind of organization is it? I don't know these things.
The Defenders, I think the title is really going to be the Defenders of Hell's Kitchen.
Okay.
They're not saying of Hell's Kitchen, but that's what it is. It's Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. And Iron Fist is going to work so smoothly into where Daredevil is going, by the way. They're setting it up very nicely. And then, obviously, you have the opportunity for Castle, Elektra, and whomever else might pop up. Like, we got a tease of what's her name in Jessica Jones season 1? Not Hellcat. Hellcat? Yeah, I think Hellcat was Jessica. I think that was her name. I can't. Patty, Jessica Jones' main friend. I think her Marvel character name is Hellcat.
Okay.
We got a tease of her. So, there's a lot of other characters that could work into this story however they want to do it.
So are the Defenders like the Watchmen type situation? I'm trying to picture them coming out of the shadows and rescuing people from muggers or something like that.
No, I honestly think that what they're doing is they're teasing this much bigger villain, especially in Daredevil season 2, and it's going to take more than just Daredevil to take him down.
Okay.
And so all of these characters, because they're all boots on the street, boots on the ground kind of superheroes, are going to team up to eventually fight this.
Cool.
So I think that's where it's going.
That sounds cool.
All right, well, you got some homework to do, my friend.
Dude, I always have homework to do.
It sucks, too, that, I'm not being one of those people that's saying, I just finished Daredevil season 2. When's the next season coming out? But November seems a little far off, doesn't it?
Well, Midsummer's coming up.
Not for Luke Cage. No, that's about right.
No, for the next in the Marvel properties as far as Netflix goes, because this one came out in March.
Yeah, but
you would think maybe August.
Yeah,
right?
but think about it though, because you have between now and then.
How many Comic-Cons?
Oh, you have the movies.
Right, between now and then.
Shit, I'm sorry, I forgot all about that.
Shield that's back right now. You've got Civil War in May. I don't think you have anything else this year. I think Civil War is the only other.
Guardians 2 is next year, right?
Guardians 2 is next year. Thor 3 is next year.
We got to ask Tom Hiddleston about Thor 3.
Yeah. So no, it's not, when you take into account all the other moving parts of the Marvel universe, November is actually probably about right.
I saw the little 15-second trailer for Luke Cage, and I don't really know too much about the character, but I was like, it looks like it could be fun.
Did you watch Jessica Jones?
No.
Oh, jeez.
You got to watch Jessica Jones.
I'm the worst person to have on this show.
No,
I'm like, I don't know.
You're good for other things. Just not in this particular universe.
I don't watch Walking Dead.
I know.
So there you go. No, it's you learn a lot about him, or you learn enough about him in season 1 of Jessica Jones that you get a good. But the teaser was pretty cool. Absolutely.
Remind me later to talk about. We got to talk about the Negan teaser that came out today for Walking Dead.
We got to talk about the Walking Dead in general.
We'll get to that a little bit later in the program, but just write that down so we can talk about that. Right now, I just want to go to. I lost him. I'm sorry. He was asking about Luke Cage and. He wrote Lou Cage on the screen there about something in September, but we just said it's not coming until November.
Maybe it's September. I thought it was November, though.
I apologize. I just had your phone call and I hung up. I do apologize for that if you want to call back in.
I'm excited for Preacher.
When is that? That's
May
soon, right?
23rd, I believe. So I'm interested to see what they do with that, because I'm almost done. I have 2 trades left and I'll finish it. But that is a crazy story.
September 30th. I was wrong.
September 30th?
So it's even sooner.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. So now that we have that information there, and then another guy had Daredevil questions, and I went to go to him, and he hung up.
Yeah.
I do apologize. What's line 2? Put line 2 on hold there.
Daredevil's not the only one who's blind. There's just clicking phones, knocking everything.
No, I can see what I'm doing. Just people are impatient there.
What's his name? The dude that plays Stick, by the way. He's awesome. Glenn, the old guy on Daredevil. Stick.
No. I was trying to think of his name because he's been in a couple other things too. He is awesome, though, as for
He's
an old
awesome
blind
in that
fighter.
role. Yeah.
Which is funny because my friend just texted me 20 minutes ago. I just saw Stick eating sushi in the city.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. There is Joe in North Carolina. Joe.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey, first time caller. I just tuned into your show and you guys are talking about Daredevil. And everything you guys are saying, like the way it's explosive, the Punisher. I agree with what you said about the two storylines, Karen and Foggy and Elektra. I do agree, with Elektra, it's kind of, like, she'll pop in, like, once in a while. But, like, to me, you kind of find it annoying. Like, you just want her to stay there, not just, like, pop in and out when she wants to. Like, it gets kind of annoying. I guess that's what they were kind of going for, because she's kind of like that thorn to the side of, Matt's side, if you get what I'm saying.
She's cock blocking him, is what you're saying.
A little bit. Look,
holding him down.
They have a very complicated relationship, and clearly they've only.
And he's causing a lot of it.
Sure, he's kind of. It's funny. I read a very interesting article today. Was it Variety? I don't remember who it was, but the title of the article was "Daredevil is a terrible superhero," and it's not that
not that far off.
No, and it's not a knock at the show, and it's not a knock at the casting. It's just saying, as far as like actually being a superhero, he really causes
a lot of problems.
And then he has to fix them. It's great. The show is amazing, and I think it shows him as a flawed character. But it was a funny read to kind of take that angle on it.
Well, it's kind of funny because I remember I saw the Daredevil.
Scott Glenn.
Well, I remember I saw the Daredevil movie, and I didn't really like it when it came out. So when they made the show, I was like, really? They're making a show about that guy? Like,
he's a great character.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
But I totally thought that same thing because Affleck, was that Ben Affleck? Affleck. Better Batman than a Daredevil.
Let's go to Nick in Denver. Nick.
Hey, Luke Cage is coming out September 30th.
Yeah, that's my bad. For some reason, I thought it was November, but
November seemed a bit far to space everything out. I was hoping August, but end of September. Yeah. It's better than nothing. There's no Doctor Who this year, so I have nothing to tie me over.
What about Sherlock? Is that coming out?
No,
ever?
There's no Sherlock this year.
I don't know. They had a Christmas special that they didn't announce, and then everyone freaked out because they missed it the first time, and then caught it the second time like 2 weeks later. Yeah. And then
it was announced.
There's no people
the DVRs didn't record it. Was the problem. Yeah.
And then there's no Sherlock announcement. Doctor Who got pushed a year, which is going to piss a lot of people off, especially with people leaving now. The showrunner, maybe Peter Capaldi. So I don't have any of that good stuff. I got to find other things, which is also a positive. I can find some other stuff to become obsessed with.
You'll be fine. You'll figure it out. You'll make it work.
You could start watching Orphan Black, Eric.
There you go.
I have been watching Orphan Black. I got to finish season 3, though.
That's right.
2.
3.
3? Oh, 3. Yeah.
3
Season 4 is coming up.
Right, season 4 is coming up.
I missed I haven't gotten to the whole story arc where she runs for the PTA and it's a whole big promotion and everything.
Oh, yeah, it's second
So
season.
I got to catch up for that. Nick, thank you so much. Let me hook you up with something here. I got a bunch of movies.
Oh, thanks, man. I love the show, man. I'm glad you got your own show. You rock. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, sir. You already won something. You don't need to kiss my ass.
Shut up. The man is giving us a compliment.
You talk about all things I love. It's great.
Let me give you a copy of... You want a copy of the new Steve Jobs movie? I'll give it a copy on Blu-ray and DVD and digital.
Sure, thanks, man.
All right, we'll put you on hold, and we'll get your information for there. I see Frank's on the hotline, so we'll get to him in 1 second. Kurt in the Bay Area.
Hello.
Chilling on the West Coast.
Call.
No problem, man.
The West Coast. Yeah, I did call before, and it was kind of a lackluster call. We kind of talked about Jessica Jones series. That was when you were promoting that new Netflix series.
Right. Well, now's your time to redeem yourself, sir.
Yeah, I will. I'll try. I just want to tell you how much I appreciated you let me on the air, and we talked about that. It kind of spurned us to watch these series. My better half really loved the Jessica Jones series, so I don't think I'll have any problem selling her on those kinds of television shows. I get so many great ideas from listening to your show and the morning show as well on what to watch, because so inundated with media nowadays, it's hard to pin something down that you really want to binge watch. And we're not really movie people.
There's so much. It's never been a better time. We've said this millions of times. Never been a better time to be a fan of anything, because There's stuff that you love. There's stuff that you don't even know about yet that if you give it a chance, you're like, oh, my God, I'm so glad I sat down and watched this series. It's the new golden age of television.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I grew up back in the day of 3 channels and then, into cable and all that. So now it's just unbelievable. Anybody says they don't have anything to watch is full of shit.
Yep. They're not trying hard enough, sir.
They're not trying at all.
Or they have really bad taste in shows.
Now, you don't have to have, you can have no taste, and you'll still come up with something.
Yeah, you can still watch, like, Ouch, My Balls or whatever.
Yeah. Incredible nut shot.
Exactly.
Kurt, we do have to move on, but I'd like to hook you up. I'm going to give you a copy of The Big Short on Blu-ray and digital.
Fantastic.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
No problem, man. We're going to put you on hold. We'll get your information there. Let's change gears a little bit, and then we'll take a break, and we got to talk to Tom Hiddleston. Want to talk to Tom Hiddleston. He's portraying Hank Williams in the brand new biopic, I Saw the Light. I'm very excited about that.
Are you a Hiddlestoner?
We'll get into that a little bit later.
Oh, no.
What I want to talk about right now is last weekend in the state of Arizona, it made a lot of headlines that Trump was having a rally down there. And there was all this political unrest, if you want to call it that, with these protesters blocking a major freeway that led to the Trump protest. Now, it wasn't that these people they have a right to protest, and it wasn't like they were standing along the sides of the freeway with their signs and everything saying, Trump is bad, don't, turn around, go, whatever like that. They have the right to do that all the way up to the point of the actual rally. They were blocking the freeway. They parked their cars diagonally. They got out. They were chaining themselves to cars. One dumb bitch took a bike lock and put it around her neck, around a car door and everything. It was insane. It was like... This was an example of the wrong way to express your right to protest. They did everything wrong that you could do. Now, I understand public disobedience, civil disobedience and public disruption as a form of protesting, but you don't block a freeway, and then you can't claim that your rights are being violated or people are trying to kill you when cars are moving on the freeway. Anyway, so a lot of news clips came out, and I started to notice a theme on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, NBC Nightly News, and apparently the international feeds, like I think BBC was carrying it as well, that there was one particular officer that was in the center of all of this, and I know the guy. Personally. I grew up with the guy. The guy lived with me. And I have him on the phone right now, my buddy Frank Slope. Frank, how are you?
Mr. Nagel.
It's been so long, my friend.
I know. How you been?
I'm doing a radio show. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, life's good.
You're on the phone with my friend Matt OG, and you know Giddles from growing up.
Yeah, I know Giddles.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Frank, what's the department that you work in?
I work for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office.
And what's your rank?
I'm a sergeant.
Sergeant, okay. You were in the center of everything going on, my friend. I was amazed and obsessed all night trying to find every news organization that had photos and clips of you.
It ended up being like that, yeah. I was kind of on the periphery of the actual rally. It just ended up, for whatever reason, I ended up getting a lot more press than I expected or wanted.
It got so out of hand that Frank became an internet meme as Shrug Cop. Where there's a video clip, I'm going to see if I can pull it up. There's a video clip where, like we said, all these people were protesting the Trump rally and they were blocking the freeway, and it's the sheriff's department, right, Frank?
That's correct.
The sheriff's department is trying to clear the way and slowly move the cars through, past the cars that are blocking the freeway to kind of get some order going and the flow of traffic. People are jumping on top of the car. It's not like they're being pushed out of the way or hit by the car. They're jumping on the windshield, the hood, the roof of the car. And people were standing in front of the car, like sticking out their hand, like, stop. You will stop because I'm telling you to stop. And the cops are like, keep it moving, and they're slow, 5 miles an hour at most, moving these cars through, and these kids are now moving out of the way. One dumb C-word is just screaming, this is attempted murder, it's attempted murder, you're trying to kill us, the blood's going to be on your hands. Frank turns around and just kind of goes, shrugs, and she's still screaming. And as he's walking backwards, he gives her a shrug again, turns around, and goes back to his business. This went everywhere, and I could not be more proud of you, my friend.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's hard to say that it's attempted murder when like you said, when you're standing in the middle of the road.
Right.
It's like standing in the middle of a runway and having a plane go by and go, hey, they almost killed me.
Right.
Because you're on a runway. Well, when you're standing in the fast lane of a 3-lane road, a major kind of arterial road to the town where the rally was held, you got to expect the cars again. Let me tell you, the guy that was in that Jeep that drove by, I don't know who he is.
Was he laughing?
No, he was scared. All the people there were scared. The citizens that were there that weren't part of the rally were frustrated, were scared, were overwhelmed. They were angry. There was a lot of emotion on the part of just normal everyday citizens that maybe weren't even had anything to do with the rally. They were just had gone out in the morning, and there was one lady at the Sprouts down the road. One lady went to go get groceries in the morning and was on her way back home. Had nothing to do with the rally, nothing to do with anything, and just couldn't get to her house.
I'm amazed that I'm trying to pull the video up here. Give me 1 second. I think I got it here. Let's pot this up. It's a little difficult for the radio audience. We have it up on the Twitter. It's Erik Nagel.
6 million views.
Yeah, I know. This thing went everywhere. I'm going to just pot this up real quick so that everyone here in the studio can see it. I don't know what else is playing there. Oh, that's that thing right there. So they can see it, and then we can continue on with the story here.
Men. Now, Roger Stone is a well-known figure in political circles. He's...
That is not what we were looking for. That's CNN Politics. Here it is. You can hear the lady screaming. Yeah. This Jeep is trying to get through a crowd of people. And there's Frank.
Make sure you're taking pictures of
Now that girl right there screaming, it's attempted murder, it's attempted murder. You're supposed to, I think she said, protect somebody, it's your responsibility. And the sheriff's department is busy trying to get traffic back on track, and then cutting the chains and bolts off these stupid kids who chain their necks, their bodies to the car door so that you can't even move the car without maybe, seriously injuring one of these protesters here. What happens to these people now, Frank?
Well, after we released them from the cars, they were obviously placed under arrest. They were transported down to the county jail, which is located down in Phoenix. They were booked. They saw a judge within 24 hours. That's required by Arizona law. And I don't know what happened after that. I know that they all of them did individual interviews with the local news media. So they've been, they got released, and they'll have a court date, and they're going to have to go in and answer for what they did.
I can't. It could be a felony, right, for blocking a major freeway like that?
It's a misdemeanor.
God damn it!
Obstructing, and there's actually State Representative Kavanaugh here is proposing a law that if you have that type of protest, that it becomes a felony for obstructing a public thoroughfare. Yeah. Because you can do it, like you said in the intro, you can do it the right way, and it's your right. And I think all the deputies and people that work for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office respect people's right to protest. And we're a constitutional body. The Sheriff's Office is mandated by the state constitution. We respect the Constitution and we respect people's rights, but at the same time, there's a right way to do it. And there's a wrong way to do it. And
right.
I think your lead-in was perfect, that it's just not the right way to do it.
And even if they have no concern or respect for their lives and well-being, by the way they did it, you're putting other people's lives in jeopardy, where if they got there at one of those times when maybe the freeway isn't busy and they sit up and someone's not paying attention and they come around that bend, they could plow right through there. You're now putting other innocent people's lives in jeopardy because of their stupid protest.
Plus, you could block emergency vehicles and all sorts of other things. Look, it's just people just have to think about it. Well, people aren't smart. That's what happens.
I think I know how Eric would solve it. I think he would get out his plow and drive right through the crowd and plow all the people over, to protect George Bush.
I was actually going to say check out The Hook as my DJ resolves it. But Frank, if in the case of an emergency vehicle like that, and the way those kids had all their shit set up there, do you guys have any kind of cool vehicles that you bring on scene to plow through it?
We had tow trucks. We just let me tell you, nowhere near as cool as you might think.
Anything kind of Mad Max-ish.
A flaming guitar player.
Flaming guitar player. It's got that really tricked out cattle plow that the trains have. Then just parts seas.
That would have helped. We could have moved some stuff with that.
Well, Frank. God bless you and the good work that you guys did at your sheriff's department there, and everybody. Difficult situation, especially nowadays when everything is being taped and photographed rather than people trying to help people in emergency situations or needs, whatever. These people, protesting or not, a handful of them are those professional ones that just come to rile up a crowd. And I commend you and your department for handling this the best way possible. Class acts all the way, and good job for you guys, and I'm glad you guys came out of it safe.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Eric. Thank you so much.
No problem. And get me a T-shirt.
It's on the way.
Okay.
I went in the mail yesterday.
I want a department T-shirt.
You've got one from for the dive team.
Okay, great.
Get a little plastic sheriff badge for him, too.
Yes, please.
Oh, I should have sent one. I have some junior deputy badges.
Yes.
We need 3.
Send 3 deputy badges to us, please. We'll take a photo and tweet it out.
Lewis wants one, too.
I'll get them in the mail for you guys.
4. Our producer wants one as well.
You got it. I'll get you 4 Maricopa County Sheriff's Office junior deputy badges.
Woohoo! All right.
Nice.
All right, man. Well, listen, reach out anytime you need me.
All right, Frank. God bless you guys, and I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Hey, thanks.
All right, take care, man.
Bye.
I just wanted to get Frank on because I thought that was an amazing series.
Yeah,
Plus, I know the guy. When you grow up with somebody like that,
of course. You got to take advantage
famous.
of it.
It's a good time to put on the news and see someone from our high school where it's not killed somebody or died in an explosion or something else horrible.
Oh, it's very refreshing to see crowd control.
Right. Like I said, if you want to see the video, I'll put a couple other videos on there. There's a photo, too. Let me see if I still have it real quick before we go to break. There's a photo, like I said, of a lady who got out of her car, took this industrial bike lock, put it around her neck. Here it is. I'll tweet this out in just a second.
Kryptonite locks?
And put it around her neck and locked it around the thin part of the window door to a van, right? And there's Frank with what could be almost you're a step away from the jaws of life at that point, right, with that industrial bolt cutter that he's sitting there cutting through her hair, trying not to cut her, and trying to cut the bolt off her neck or the car door.
Unbelievable.
Ridiculous what people have to go through.
Yeah.
And it's not the Trumps. I'm not picking sides here, but it's not the Trump people doing this. Trump's words might be causing some of this stuff, but it's the protesters from other sides are the ones that are going crazy.
Yeah, look, I'm not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form. And I normally don't get too political, but I'm not a Trump supporter. I have no problem saying that. That being said, there's a right and a wrong way to do a protest. That's probably not the right way to do it.
Let's just hope that the delegates go with the popular vote so we don't have to see what happens when Trump voters do not get.
Well, we'll see where, the Ted Cruz sex scandal is going to go. That broke today about him having 5 extramarital affairs. And then I think the latest I saw was that he's claiming that Trump planted it to the, I don't know if it was I think it was the National Enquirer.
Something like that.
So, planted the story. They would have blown the lid saying Trump gave us this story.
I hope the headline this weekend is Ted Cruz goes around putting his dick on women.
I just hope it's
mine.
It's going to be Ted Cruzin.
Ted Cruzin, that's it.
Cruzin USA.
That's it.
Ted whips his dick out and touches the ground in every state saying, I got Idaho. I got Montana.
These are my delegates.
These are my delegates.
That's it.
That's the new way. That's democracy in action.
Hillary's got to go around doing squats, claiming some states herself.
Well, she could go to that one place and do it in 5 states at once.
4 corners.
4 corners, right. All right. We do have to wait a minute. What is this one saying? Sorry. Garrison, Wisconsin, I apologize for missing your call here, but Frank's off the phone, so there's nothing I can do with that. We do need to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with actor Tom Hiddleston. You know him as Loki from the Avengers and all the other Marvel properties. He has a brand new movie called I Saw the Light, where he portrays Hank Williams and does it very, very well. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
How's it going? Brian.
Nice
to meet you.
Eric, nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me. Where should I be?
Right there.
Right here.
And you don't need to wear the headphones if you don't want to. Make it easier on
Are you
you.
going to wear the headphones?
He doesn't have to.
I don't have to,
I
but
just need to run the board.
Okay.
You don't have to mess that fabulous hair that you have.
That's fine. I can.
Sometimes it sounds a little clearer.
There you go.
Work out if I'm
Hey.
holding the mic or not. Whee. Whoops.
Everything's breaking.
Oh, no.
There we go.
Even the news.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My guest right now, I couldn't be more excited about it. Of course, you know all his roles in various Avengers and Marvel projects. You know him from Crimson Peak. He has a brand new movie called I Saw the Light, but to me, he will forever be the great escapo in The Muppets Most Wanted. Please say hello to Tom Hiddleston. Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. I did not expect you to pull that one out of the bag.
You'll never get that introduction ever again.
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. Very well, yeah. It's good. It's nice to be in New York City. Thanks for having me.
We're very excited to have you here. I mean, I've been a big fan of yours for a long time, and I just found out you have a really weird cult fan following. They call themselves Hiddlestoners.
Yeah. They've been they've been around for a while, since the first Thor film. Honestly, my experience with them is that they're very sweet and benign, and they've followed me into some pretty strange territory. So generally, they're just fans of film and the theater, and that's what they call themselves.
I've seen on Instagram they're very aggressive with their love for you.
Are
Like
they?
anybody that mentions anything to do with you or any of your project, whatever, they're all liking it. Tom's amazing. Yes, we know Tom's amazing, but they flood everything about you. And then I found out this whole subculture of Hiddlestoners, and I'm like, I guess I'm one of these people.
You don't have to be. There's no obligation.
Okay, good, because I don't want to make it weird.
He ordered shirts and everything.
It's all good. It's very important for it to stay normal.
Well, there's so many things I want to ask you, but let's start with the important reason that you're here for I Saw the Light, which is out in theaters today, this weekend. Go see it. Amazing choice to have you for Hank Williams, because when they announced that you were going to portray him, I was like, does he look? I couldn't remember Hank Sr., so I went and looked up. I'm like, oh my God, that shot with the gray background and you have the grayish cowboy hat, and they do side by side. I was like, they nailed it. You were almost exactly him.
Yeah, that was the interesting. I mean, I didn't know that the director and writer Mark Abraham was watching War Horse, the Steven Spielberg movie, about 4 years ago with his wife in the theater, and I was playing a British cavalry officer, and I took my hat off, and he turned to his wife, as he tells me, and said, "That guy looks like Hank. I should give him a call." And then he watched all my other work, and he sent me the script. And I didn't know I looked like Hank until he told me, which it is kind of slightly eerie that from certain angles and certain light, our faces look the same.
It's like one of those gothic horror movies where you see a photo of your great ancestor and it looks exactly like the girl right now. Yeah.
But then after that, of course, you know, as I'm British, as you may have noticed, and the work after that is trying to, you know, I was born in London in 1981. Hank Williams was born in Alabama in 1923, and so it was trying to bridge the gap between me and him. Dye my hair black, lose the weight, put brown contact lenses in my eyes, and get down to Nashville, get out of London, and dig my heels into the roots of country music in the South.
It's a big thing, at least in the last, I'll say 10 years, I guess since The Wire, that a lot of British actors have these iconic American roles where they're portraying Americans, they have the accents down, even the regional accents in America, not just a general American accent.
Yeah.
You're doing a gentleman from the Deep South. So when you're going to get ready for this character, how do you work on that accent?
The way I did it was, it was even more challenging in the sense that when I listened to him, I realized he had a period accent. So it was very specific to the 40s and the 50s, and it doesn't sound like contemporary Tennessean dialect, and we shot down in Louisiana. They don't actually sound like Hank at all. They sound different, and it was important to get the time period right. You can find this stuff on iTunes, I think, or on the internet, but there are lost concert recordings of some of Hank's gigs all over the South, and he's hilarious. And between sets and between songs, he's had a few.
He's telling stories.
He's telling stories, and he's riffing, and he's ribbing his bandmates and talking about how they got stuck in a storm on the way here, and that's why his lead guitarist has got such crazy hair. And and that's what I kind of keyed into his specific accent, listening to that stuff.
That's great. So how did you get into the role of Hank Williams? Because he had such a crazy life with like drugs, alcohol, fathering numerous children. Like, how did you get into like that place to play that kind of character?
Well, I think that the facts speak for themselves, and I knew that I just had to kind of like jump on the train and stay on board for the ride. And the challenge of trying to get under his skin really was I found this tension in him between his external charisma, because he was clearly a rock star, electrifying on stage.
Before the rock star persona was even known.
But he was like witty and rebellious and edgy on stage. The Grand Ole Opry was a family-friendly show broadcast on the radio. But this is back in the day, was before television, when people sat around the radio set on a Saturday night and listened to that show. And he was a huge star, and he had edge, and people were really attracted to him. But behind that charisma was this tortured soul. He had so much vulnerability and so much pain. And I found that tension really interesting. And I thought that's what I wanted to explore in the film, is someone who, in performance, was magnetic and electrifying. But in private, he was lonely and sad and mournful and in pain, and trying to express both of those aspects of him.
Yeah, because a lot of places you get like that tortured artist feeling, but I think he really like encapsulates that torture, obviously, like going out on stage and performing, and then having his own life.
I know. I think that was why the songs were so good.
There's a lot of depression that he put forward, and a lot that was hidden. Yeah. When he had that alter ego,
Luke the Drifter.
Yeah. Those songs are horrific.
They are.
Just lyrically. I mean, they're well done, but if you hear the story that Luke is singing about, it's like, this guy is so tortured. It's so miserable.
Yeah. There's and they're sort of poems as well, set to music. There's one called Men with Broken Hearts, which is one of the most well-known Luke the Drifter poems, and that goes something like, "You'll meet many just like me, upon life's busy street, with shoulders stooped and heads bowed low and eyes that stare in defeat. You had no right to be the judge to criticize or condemn. Just think, before the grace of God, it could be you instead of him." And it's like, this guy was heavy, it was really...
Did you hear that accent? I can see why women fall all over him.
I was falling a little bit
myself. I know. That was amazing.
Sorry. That was unintentional.
No. Sorry to make you uncomfortable. One thing also I wanted to ask you about was certain characteristics for a character in a movie. Now, when an actor is doing a role and portraying somebody in real life, there's certain things that these people do that the actors don't do in real life. Now, he was a big drinker. Now, actors can fake drinking, whether I'll drink while I'm doing thing because I can handle it. Or if you're recovering or just don't drink, they make liquid that looks like alcohol and you can still get through the scene.
Yeah.
But you're smoking a lot. So are you a smoker yourself?
No, I'm not. They have, actually they have these prop cigarettes that you can smoke, which are
they the old candy cigarettes that you shoot the sugar out?
Yeah, unfortunately, because you have to blow out, so it doesn't work. But there are actually prop cigarettes you can light, and there's some kind of herbal mixture that there's no tar and no nicotine in there. So that's what I was smoking in this.
Okay, because I always wondered about that. Cause you don't see smoking nowadays unless it's an old piece or they flash back to something. And I just always wondered how they fake the cigarettes, but I guess now we know.
There's ways and means. But it was important, I think, to show that. He lived so hard.
He did.
And that was an interesting aspect of him, because I think there's a certain kind of person who just has an inclination to addiction, and some people say that's genetic, and they live without a safety catch. And I know I have that safety catch. Thank God. Like I feel very grateful that, I know when to stop, and I have known many people in my life who don't. Mm-hmm. And Hank clearly he was a binger. He binged on everything, and he couldn't just have one cocktail. he had to drink until he was unconscious.
Right.
And trying to represent that aspect of him was interesting because I think where does that self-destructive instinct come from? Or the instinct to need to escape because the noise is too loud or something like that.
Let's get into the music aspect of the movie here. Hank Williams, I knew because my grandmother grew up in Illinois, and that was the music that she grew up on. And I don't think I would have known much about Hank Williams had my grandmother not been playing those old records and listening to those old concerts where he was at the Grand Ole Opry and what have you here. This was an amazing transformation as well for doing the music. Did you insist on doing all the songs?
I think it was, we all thought it was the only way to go. Sissy Spacek back in the day sang all the songs in Coal Miner's Daughter when she was playing Loretta Lynn. Joaquin Phoenix sang all the songs when he was playing Johnny Cash in Walk the Line. And I think nobody's interested in watching an actor lip sync, through the song. I think it was sort of to be playing the character and then to be lip syncing would just have been so strange and almost like putting a sort of sound reducer or a muffler on the interpretation. It was like, if I'm going to play the man, I have to sing the songs, I have to play the music, I have to do everything, I have to inhabit everything about him. So that was part of the challenge and part of the joy, actually.
So are you a trained singer, or did you have to learn how to sing for this performance?
Never sang.
Never sang
Never
before?
in my life, yeah.
Well, you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I'd say you nailed some of those... That old style of country music where it was a bit yodeling in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You nailed it.
Thank you, man.
Like nothing sound forced, nothing sound out of range, and it was just always a smooth transition.
Thanks, dude. It was a lot of work. What I did is I went to Nashville about 6 weeks out ahead of shooting, and I lived with a musician called Rodney Crowell who's been living in Nashville, making music for 40 years. He's won Grammys. He's toured with Emmylou Harris. He was married to Roseanne Cash for 17 years. He's part of Nashville royalty, and he just put me through my paces. It was like if I was playing an Olympic sprinter, I would need a coach. And in this regard, I had Rodney, and we just played and sang every single day.
That sounds awesome.
It was great. Yeah.
How long did it take?
It took 5 weeks. Well, I didn't really know. There was interesting days. I found out so many things about myself that I didn't know. We would start singing Hank Williams and he would say, "Oh, Tom, you're right on the beat, man. Hank was a blues singer. Really, he was singing the blues and you're so on top of the beat. You're like a metronome. And blues, people are singing behind the beat. They're just off the beat. They're more relaxed about it. So we just sing Howlin' Wolf and Jimmy Reed for 2 days. He was like, I'm just going to get the blues in your soul. So when you go back to Hank, it's just more relaxed. It's more of a blues rhythm. And all that kind of stuff was just fascinating to me. And in moments when you can kind of like combine the technical challenge of the rhythm and the pitch of Hank's music with my own sincerity. You sing a song like I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, and it doesn't work unless you invest yourself in that song at the same time as trying to sound like Hank. It was such an interesting challenge. It was cool.
For people who, if you're fans or have an appreciation for that old style country music, Hank Williams definitely was an OG of that era.
Yeah.
The soundtrack that comes with the movie is definitely worth picking up because if you enjoyed Hank and I'm sure you're going to enjoy Tom's portrayal of Hank in the movie I Saw the Light, which is out this weekend, get the soundtrack because most of the songs on the soundtrack are the songs that Tom covers that were Hank Williams, and you do an amazing job. I got to admit some ignorance. Hey Good Lookin', when it was in the movie, I swear to God, I thought that was just one of those traditional songs that everybody knew. Right. I had no idea he wrote that particular song.
I know.
And growing up in the 80s, they used to use it for like the dairy boards. Yep. It was like, why don't you do something with cheese? And I was like, oh, and then I heard it was a real song, and I just thought it was one of those traditional songs that people pass through the generations.
Yeah, it's like, that's what I've heard. Someone told me that it's up there with Happy Birthday. If you start singing it all over the world, if you start saying, hey, good looking, people would join in with What You Got Cooking.
Everyone knows it, yeah.
And it came from Hank. He wrote it.
Another interesting thing with the music portrayed in this movie, when anyone just during times of happiness or sorrow, belted out some kind of religious spiritual, everybody knew the song. You don't see that nowadays. If somebody sang some kind of song about God, everyone would be like, looking at you like, what are you singing? I don't know about. But everybody knew these songs, and a lot of these songs weren't even on the radio. They were just songs that were passed through communities and through families, that if the second you said it, like I Saw the Light, I don't want to spoil why this is being sung, but it's a bit impromptu at the end, where one person started singing it, and then the whole place picked up on it and knew it. And I'm like, wow, everybody knew all these songs at the same time.
Yeah, that was something I discovered when I was in Tennessee. Is I was just like thinking about that time in the South, and it was a culture of, as Rodney put it, sinning on Saturday, redemption on Sunday, and church was so much a part of the culture, and it was. And singing, gospel was so much a part of that time, and I think a lot of Hank's music is infused with gospel. The gospel and the blues were the musical influences of the South, and everybody had that natural affinity with it.
I Saw the Light is out this weekend. Definitely go see it. It's the biopic on Hank Williams. Tom Hiddleston is our guest and obviously portrays Hank Williams. It would be great if you didn't this whole time and this whole thing was a lie. Like, what is he doing here? A couple quick questions of other projects that you're dealing with and working on. One of them is a new show or miniseries coming to AMC.
That's right.
The Night Manager.
The Night Manager, yeah.
You're working with one of my favorite people in the world, Hugh Laurie.
Amazing.
What's this like? Amazing. Can you explain what the Night Manager is?
Sure. The Night Manager was a novel that came out in 1993 by John le Carre, who many regard as the greatest espionage novelist. He wrote Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. He wrote The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. And we've updated it so it's a contemporary story, and it follows a man called Jonathan Pine. My character. Yeah. And you meet him, and he is the night manager of a luxury hotel in Cairo in the Arab Spring riots of 2011. So there's a huge popular uprising in the Middle East. Governments are being torn down by a popular rebellion. And he's working in this hotel, and he's very polite and affable and well-mannered. And you realize he's got a complex history, and it emerges that he's a former British soldier who served in the Iraq War of 2003, so he has a particular skill set. And there is a personal tragedy that he's involved in, which compels him to take a call from MI6, from the Secret Service in London, and join a particular wing of their work as a spy, as a field agent who's trying to take down an international arms dealer played by Hugh Laurie. So it's really, it's a spy thriller. I play the spy. Hugh Laurie plays the villain. Someone le Carre calls the worst man in the world. And the reason he's the worst man in the world is because he sells Western chemical weapons to the highest bidder in the Middle East. And the challenge and the great thing about Hugh's portrayal is he's so charming. And so affable and so seductive, and you think, how could this be the worst man?
How is this Stuart Little's dad?
It's making house calls.
What happened to Dr. House? But it's great. It has this kind of cat and mouse element. It's you're never quite sure who is the cat and who is the mouse. And Pine, my character, has to live within the jaws of the beast, knowing that they could snap shut at any time, and if that happens, he's a dead man.
When does this miniseries start?
April 19th on AMC. I can't remember, it was 6 episodes in the UK on the BBC, and I don't know if it's 6 or 8 yet, because they weren't sure with AMC whether they were going to extend it across 8 episodes, but it's the same stuff, just might be 45-minute 8 episodes or 1 hour.
I'm just envious you got to work with Hugh Laurie.
He's great.
In America, I know people know him as the dad on Stuart Little and House, but I loved and have a deep appreciation for a bit of Fry and Laurie and all the stuff that him and Stephen Fry did. Yeah. I love that old 80s stuff and into the 90s and everything.
It's rare to hear that in this country because, of course, that's how I know him.
Right.
He was Hugh and Stephen Fry were kind of like Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, back in the day. They were this fantastic double act, and they did so much comedy together. And Hugh would play the piano, and Stephen, they would do bits, and they did Blackadder, and
Blackadder's great
so
too.
Good, yeah.
We were also, and then as the Brits, we were all so surprised when largely America discovered him as Dr. House. And we're like, who's this new guy? And we're like, he's been around for a while.
Running out of time here, so I'm going to just do a quick speed round. Now that you have this new impersonation that you can do of Hank Williams,
sure.
Maybe somewhere down the line, if Loki has to be undercover somewhere, that accent comes out. And like, wow.
It's so great.
An open mic.
Yeah. Have Loki shapeshift into someone, an icon from the American South. That'd be great. I'll pitch it to the producers at Marvel.
What's next for Loki in the upcoming Marvel universe?
I truly don't know. I'm going to start Thor Ragnarok, which will basically Thor 3. Yeah, we start shooting in July in Australia. We'll probably shoot till the end of the year. And all I know is that I'm happy to be working with Hemsworth again. He's an old friend of mine, and Mark Ruffalo.
Mr. Ghostbusters now.
Yes. Yeah, who are you going to call?
Yeah.
But the Jolly Green Giant is also joining us in some capacity, which will be exciting. So I think Loki will have a few things to say after that smackdown in Avengers.
Nice.
And finally, I wish Crimson Peak did a lot better than received a lot better. I think the problem, at least with American audiences, I think they were expecting more horror than story.
Yeah.
It was more of a gothic drama than it was a gothic terror.
Yeah.
And I think that's people went in thinking, because of the Crimson stuff and the ghosts and everything, they were like, this is, people are going to die and the house is haunted. And it wasn't that. It was a story of a tortured soul and a tortured family. And I think people just thought it was one thing and it became something else.
Yeah.
But I saw it again not too long ago and I was like, this really is a good story if you go into it not expecting a horror.
Yeah. What's nice is actually since the release, people have seen it on Blu-ray or DVD or they've even seen it on an airplane and people go, wow, why did I miss that? It was, and they appreciate Guillermo del Toro's artistry. He's so precise and such a visionary, and I think he created a whole world with that film, and it was just a privilege to live inside it.
Mr. Hiddleston, thank you so much for your time. We've unfortunately run out of it. The movie is I Saw the Light. It's in theaters now this weekend. We look forward to your future projects, especially Loki and Thor 3 and whatever else you're going to do there. Next time you're back in New York, please come by and say hello.
Thanks, man.
We'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome back to It's Erik Nagel. 866-969-1969 is the phone number to get in touch with us here in the program. Matt O.G., Giddlebase.
Yep. On the Twitter and Instagram, Giddles. And Emilio's sitting in for a little bit. You got some time before your other job?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. Are you supposed to be on the air now?
In about 10 minutes. But yeah,
okay. You got some time to kill.
Yeah.
Good to see you, my friend.
It's good to see you, too. I like the Daredevil shirt.
Thank you.
Hey, that's the only one.
Well, yeah, that's true. You want to tell that story?
Yeah, might as well.
I'll take a photo of it right now, but I got a brand new Daredevil Season 2 shirt. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And this is the first day I'm wearing it, and a lot of people have taken notice to it.
One special person in particular, the cashier lady at the Walgreens or Dwayne Reed downstairs, who's complimented Eric on his shirt and then suggested that he take it off, and not like oh yeah, can we trade shirts? Like, you should take it off. And I was like, whoa, this is getting a little.
I'm just trying to
look at him, he's covered up. He's
covering up now.
I'm embarrassed.
His nips are getting hard.
Yes, I was trying to. I didn't have my little club card with me, so I'm trying to remember what phone number it was associated to the card. And while I'm doing that, I'm trying to ignore that this lady is saying this.
She's just sexually harassing Eric while he's online.
Like, very blatant, and Giddles goes, oh my God.
She's addressing you with her eyes.
She kept going. And as we're ringing everything up.
She brought over other cashiers. She's like, oh, check out his shirt.
Right. So, we finally finished ringing up everything.
You were one packet of gum away from a gang rape.
And seriously, as we're putting everything together, she says again, no, you really should take off that shirt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. And Brian just starts laughing. He goes, we need to talk about this tonight.
But you didn't ask why? There was no real reason. Do you want the shirt? You're a sex god. I know. It's all right. But there had to be, there should have been a a file like, hey,
I don't know. I didn't want to
like
engage.
A minor god, maybe. Let's just clarify.
Demigod.
Demi-sex god.
Yeah.
No, she loved the shirt. She asked where she can get it. Eric's like, it's exclusive. And she's like, ooh. Like, man, even his real estate went even higher.
Yeah, it was like the equivalent of when a guy's at a bar throwing cheap lines at a girl.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like.
You felt like a piece of meat.
I did. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, they can never complain. Well, how would you feel if we treated you like meat? Enjoy.
Go for it. So wear this Daredevil shirt, see what happens.
There you go.
There were things that were going through my mind that I could have said, but as we were walking away, I said, half the things I wanted to say, I would have been blamed for and saying I was being inappropriate.
Did you get a discount on anything that you bought?
No.
They charged us twice.
Son of a bitch.
Nothing. I got points to Dwayne Reed, which I don't think do anything, because I've been getting points for years and I've never received a reward coupon or any of that stuff.
Tisk.
I think didn't even know Dwayne Reed even existed still.
It's downstairs.
And I like how her clever way of getting your phone number. So you're like, I forgot my card. She's like, you could just enter your phone number.
And thank God it was wrong the first 6 times. I'm like, wow, I was trying to remember all my old phone numbers.
Dwayne Reed.
But anyway, terrible. So, yeah. That was a nice highlight of my day, next to talking to Tom Hiddleston, who was a gentleman and a scholar. Couldn't have been nicer. And he signed some stuff for us. Maybe we can figure out a way to... how the hell... Oh, I tweeted that out. That's right. I was going to say, how did he know about that? We have some figures to give away from Funko. He signed a Loki figure, and he signed a Thomas Sharp figure, which is his character in Crimson Peak. Now, that one is paired with the New York Comic-Con exclusive of the chick that's in the movie with him. I forgot her name, but she's covered in blood and whatever, and those variants tend to be valuable because they have the stickers on them.
Absolutely.
So we'll give those away. Maybe... Wait. More people are calling from the same city. I think I'm on to you, Dave. Let's go to Dave in Buffalo. Dave, how are you?
Eric, how are you tonight?
Doing all right.
Yeah, you be.
Yeah, you be. Too bad first round in the tourney.
Yeah.
Eric, I've got an 8-year-old who is the biggest Funko collector out there.
This is not for him, sir.
Oh, it's a she. And she loves the Loki.
Right, but... you have to realize this is not something to open.
Oh, no. She keeps them all in the boxes. She even gets those little Funko plastic holders.
The stacks, yes.
The stacks, yes.
Okay, well, you know what? You're raising the right kind of kid, because this one is signed by Mr. Tom Hiddleston, the Loki figure, and this does need to be protected, not touched and played with.
That's right. There's no claiming it.
No claiming it at all.
There's exactly. There's millions of people around the world who would kill for this thing.
But I think his daughter.
Yeah,
I'm feeling it.
Be a good one.
Have you won anything in the past 30 days?
I've never won anything anywhere.
Oh my God, we got to give him a Funko.
Okay. You know what, Dave? For your 8-year-old, you know what? No, all right, we'll take him on his word, but you better tweet a damn photo of your daughter holding this thing, because if you're hosing me here, we're going to have issues.
I'm not hosing. C-Rock, I love you.
716. I know
that's definitely Buffalo. He's going to have like a wig with like pigtails, like the old like Bud Light Ladies Night commercials, and like text it to you.
That's an odd, that's a dated poll.
Yeah, well, my brain is dated.
All right, Dave, we're going to hook your daughter up with the signed Loki figure from Tom Hiddleston, all right?
Eric, you are the man.
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold, and we'll get your information. We have the Thomas Sharp figure signed by Tom Hiddleston, which we'll give away a little later in the program. Nice. Not right now. So if you're calling for that figure, got to wait a little bit, and then we'll give it to you. Let's go to Nick in Buffalo real quick. Nick.
Hey, what's going on, Eric?
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I just had to call and tell you, I lived in this house with my grandparents for 30-something years, and the other day we're cleaning out. My grandmother passed away, so we're cleaning out the house, and I come across my old gaming console, Action Max, and it still works to this day. I got 2 of the games still, Hop, Ghostly, and Ambush Alley, and I'm just having to see, I don't know if you've ever came across it, if you ever had a chance to play it, but I had to tell you about it.
No.
I've never heard of it.
It was made in late 80s. I think it came out around like 87, 88, and it's a VHS gaming system that plugged into the TV, and it came with a headset and a pistol, almost like from Nintendo, and you could shoot like it popped. Ghostly was ghosts that come up on screen, and you'd have to shoot it.
Whoa, that sounds kind of crazy. It's not like that VHS Scene It game where you'd have to watch Friends, the DVD, and then play the board game to answer the questions.
I always watched the DVD. I watched the DVD all the way through and then played the game.
Yeah, I call it the original Time Crisis.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What are you doing with this thing?
I actually, we plugged it in the other day to see if it still works.
And it burnt your house down.
Works, and I just don't know what I mean, I don't have it doesn't work great on, obviously, today's TV, so I have an old TV we plugged into, and it still works really well. I'm just probably going to keep it and give it to my kids. I mean, I'm cruising in the car right now with my 2-year-old. I'll probably give it to him when he's old enough to play it.
Or you could send it to us. We'll play it live on the show. We'll try it out.
As long as I can get it back, I'd be more than willing to do it.
Well, I can't make those kind of promises, sir.
See, I don't know about it then,
All right, pass it along. Pass it along through the generations of your family.
All right, sounds good, man.
All right, take care, man. It was nice talking to you. We're going to get into Superman versus Batman in just a second, but I wanted to take a moment here. We got our brand new Loot Crate, and Loot Crate is a regular sponsor to the channel, to Opie's show, to our show, and it's very rare that we actually get the crate before we do the show.
Yeah.
Because it's usually arrives either later, it's at home at night, or it shows up here the week after we did the show. So we have a unique opportunity real quick. I'm going to open this up and see what's in here. Because I think this month's theme was Versus.
Yeah, this was the Versus one.
All right. Ooh.
Oh, ooh's a good reaction.
Oh, nice. Reversible. Oh, it's a Daredevil wool knit hat.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome. With the Daredevil logo on it.
Or Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, this is awesome. And you reverse it into the Punisher hat.
That's cool.
I want that hat.
Holy
Damn it.
shit.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I'm going to have to kill you.
That goes in my bag.
I'm going to put my dick in that hat.
Let's see, what's this here?
E-Rock versus OG.
Loot Crate exclusive from, Titan Vinyl. I love them.
Ooh.
Oh, it's a 2-pack. Alien vs. Predator.
That's kind of cool.
Oh, that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
This is a good theme.
This is pretty good.
What is this one here? This is a Spock versus Evil Spock Star Trek
it's Mirror Spock?
Let me see what. Look at that.
Spock versus.
It looks like an old boxing poster.
Yeah. He looks like Dracula. Spock.
That's awesome.
You want that?
No.
No?
I'll take that hat, though.
The hat.
I'm taking the hat, though, yeah.
Let's see what else here.
So you can choose whether you want to be the villain or the hero during the day. You better watch out for Matt. He switched that hat to Punisher.
It's like his move.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, shit.
I roll in here on a Friday night with the Punisher side show, and you got problems.
It's been a bad day.
The Loot Crate magazine, the pin. A comic, exclusive comic, Harley Quinn.
Oh, wow,
look at that. That's pretty neat.
Well, who is she versing?
I don't know.
The universe.
She's just rapping. It's just her just saying verses.
That's in there. And, this will make a nice transition. A Batman vs. Superman paper wallet. I remember the last paper wallet we got was The Simpsons that wound up going home with Giddles.
Yes.
Which he still has, by the way.
Look at this thing. It's mangled.
Wow.
It's like falling apart. It's a Costanza wallet. Everyone tells me I have a George Costanza wallet.
But you also have all of Springfield in that wallet.
Yeah, I do have all of Springfield. Drop my penny. Oh, man.
Well, this was a great Loot Crate for this month.
Yeah, man.
Not bad.
Go,
very cool.
We don't have a read today, but go to lootcrate.com/OP, save $3.
There you go.
Get yourself a subscription. By the way, they have Pet Crate.
Yes.
Or Loot Pet, or whatever it's called.
Yes.
Loot Pet.
They have a box subscription with pet stuff every week. You give for dogs. So you give them the size, collar size, length size of the dog there. They're sending you like collars and decorative leashes and T-shirts. I saw something that had a cape, and I'm like, that's just ridiculous. But it also has like treats and dog food and other stuff, like gourmet stuff from wherever they get all their shit from.
I'll tell you this, all your dog wants is peanut butter. Like, that's it. You can put anything in that box, that dog's just like, is that peanut butter? Nah, I don't care. I don't give a shit. Oh, man.
Well, anyway, lootcrate.com. Go there.
Check them out.
And check them out.
So are you going to keep that Batman vs. Superman wallet?
No, but it looks like you could use it.
Ugh. Yeah, I need to put $15 back into it. Oh, my God, dude.
Superman was not good. Batman vs. Superman was not good.
Everything about the experience this afternoon was just horrible.
Gil's had some time to kill today, so he went down to one of the theaters here in Manhattan.
Yeah, right around the corner.
For a afternoon showing of Batman vs. Superman, which opens today. It's open today.
No, it opened last night at 6 p.m.
Oh, last night at 6 p.m.
Yes.
So the movie opened up, and Giddles went and killed some time, went to the movies, and let's hear about Batman vs. Superman.
Well, first, I got to the theater probably around 1:30, which I figured is a good time to get there for a 2 o'clock showing. You know, it's probably not sold out. I checked online, it wasn't sold out. So I get there, and I go upstairs to the theater, and they're like, Theater 13, and they don't have it really organized, to say the least. This is a movie where there is a shit ton of people waiting there, and the problem is they didn't start the line to get into the theater next to the theater where it was supposed to be. They started the line to get into Batman vs. Superman on the other side of the building. So this is how stupid it was. So I get up there and I just start walking in, and all of a sudden I hear, "Hey, asshole, there's a line over here." And I'm like, all right. And for some reason, they had that line there, and it was just kind of chaos. And people were trying to cut in, and then the people came out and they're like, this is now the back of the line is now the front of the line. There was almost brawls. It was kind of crazy. But anyway, we got into the movie. It was probably about 1:59. The movie started at 2, and it was awful. I don't know what else to say, but I went in with an open mind, and I was completely disappointed and bored. People were booing at some parts during the movie. There was a lot of plot holes, a lot of stuff that didn't really make sense.
Before you delve into the movie, what trailers did they have before the movie?
Oh, they had a trailer for the new Ninja Turtles movie, which, it was entertaining for the 2 minutes it was.
With Rocksteady and Bebop.
Is
Krang
Shredder
in the trailer?
I don't remember seeing Krang, but it was, it's a Michael Bay movie, so it was a very flashy trailer. There was a trailer for X-Men Apocalypse, that Midnight Special movie with Michael Shannon, which I really want to see. And what was the other trailer? The Nice Guys, and I think and then there was the Ghostbusters trailer.
Oh no.
And the second it said 30 years earlier, about half the crowd just started going, boo! So that's how I knew, when everyone started
booing the trailer?
Dude, they were booing the trailer. They were booing Batman. It was a good crowd.
Did they at least give it a chance and then started booing halfway through or at certain parts? Or as soon as they recognized what it was, did they start booing?
As soon as it said 30 years earlier, people started booing. Because you hear that little piano, do-do-do-do-do-do, and boo! So, I don't know. It was... I don't know who this movie was made for. I don't even know if it was made for comic book fans, because there was parts that literally made no sense. They contradicted themselves.
All right, hang on. Let's just throw this out here. We're going to try our best, but we're going to give you a spoiler warning. So if you're on your way, what is it? It's 8:05 here on the East Coast, 5:05 on the West Coast. So if you're getting in your car and going home, planning to go to the movie, on the way to the movie, whatever you're doing, if you don't want to hear Gittle's review, tune to one of the other fine channels here at SiriusXM.
Or hear it and save a boatload of money with how many people you're in the car with.
All right, well, there's your first spoiler.
Ugh.
Not worth your money.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't enjoy it. There wasn't a lot of fighting in it. I mean, it was really slow paced.
Now it's a 3-hour movie, right?
It's a 3-hour movie. There's a quick little Batman and Superman fight towards the beginning, where Batman's kind of showing his superiority, or Superman rather showing his superiority and being like, don't fuck with me. Next time I won't be so nice.
Right.
And then it's just boring for another hour.
Well, you said people were actually yelling at the screen?
There was a guy in the theater, it was probably about an hour and 45 minutes into the movie, said, "Will someone fight someone or I want my $15 back." And then we thought he was going to start fighting people in the crowd. But it seemed like they were really setting up a lot for the Justice League movie.
I've heard that.
I mean, it was just...
So it's a 3-hour setup.
It's a 3-hour setup that doesn't even pay off, because the end is so explosive, to say the least, that it just kind of loses track of what it's doing. The first hour and a half of the movie, it's kind of like a superhero political drama, and then it kind of takes this weird turn for no reason, and then it's just... I picture Zack Snyder in a sandbox with Superman and Batman going pew 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 and fighting and throwing them at trees and knocking everything down. It was, I don't know what they were going for. I didn't like Lex Luthor. He was very much, as I called him, the Jokler, where it was what is he doing? What is the point of his character?
That seems to be the center of a lot of reviews that were done for Batman vs. Superman. I'm trying to... What's his name?
Jesse Eisenberg?
Jesse Eisenberg?
Takes you out because he's not what Lex Luger... the wrestler.
Yeah,
it's not what Lex... It's not... no, that's the wrestler, Lex Luger. it's not what Lex Luthor is supposed to be. He's supposed to be very cold, very cunning, very arrogant, and business savvy, and he's coming off like a fanboy to both of them.
Yeah, I mean, he has like that coldness and stuff like that, and like you can tell that he's a little manipulative, but I heard he didn't really.
I heard
the role.
He was a bit of a sociopath, as I heard some people describe him in the movie.
A little bit. I mean, there is a little bit of a spoiler here where he's, I will say, making it rain with pictures of Superman's mom.
Oh, Jesus.
Where, like, Superman's sitting there, he's like, I got your mom, and he has all these Polaroids of it. He's just, like, flicking them in his face, and Superman just almost starts crying.
Oh, Jesus.
And he's just like, oh, look, it's your mom, and just throwing pictures at him. It was,
I've been trying so hard to, look. My initial reaction for this movie, based on everything that have seen thus far, is that I wasn't going to like it.
Yeah.
But I've been wanting to give it the benefit of the doubt. And then, you have the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Oh, no.
Now, Rotten Tomatoes has 2 scores.
Hang on.
All right. I want to qualify these. Hold on.
Yes.
So there are 2 scores. There's the critic score, which is 29% right now. And the highest I've seen it go, I think, was 40 or 41.
Well, that's where I wanted to lead up, was I wanted to work backwards, but you already did it.
Sorry.
So I was like, it started at...
Yeah. Well... Okay, well, we can work backwards with the audience score, which started at 92.
Yep.
And now, hold on, let's explain. It was high because most of the public hadn't had a chance to see it yet. They did have special fan screenings.
Correct.
That were allowed to see it, contest winners, things like that. So those people got to review it, and that's why the numbers were so high.
And so now, currently, as we speak, I just checked, it's at 74% of the audience score.
It's dropping.
Now, that being said, right, 92, 74, clearly it's dropping. The true testament is going to be what happens at the end of the weekend. But 74% still means that 74% of the people liked it. It's not a terrible score when you really think about it. But here's the problem that I have with that score. I've been trying to remain partial, and I completely discredit the critic score. If I have to discredit the critic score when they don't agree with me, I have to discredit them when they do agree with me. There's plenty of times where critics like, this movie is the worst movie ever made, and I'm like, that movie's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't understand. So 29%, whatever it is, fuck you. I don't care. You're a critic. The audience score is the one I'm interested in. But some of the reviews are like, I didn't like the CGI. I thought the plot was really slow. And Henry Cavill wasn't great. But it was kind of good, and I'm glad to see these DC characters on the screen. So I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Why?
Why? How could you list 4 things that you hate about the movie, but give it a 4.5 out of 5? Like, and look, I mean, maybe you still enjoyed it overall. That's great. Personally, I don't think that I'm going to enjoy it. I didn't enjoy Man of Steel. I don't think I'm going to enjoy it.
I don't think you'll like it.
And it's sad. It's sad because people also have been accusing me lately of being a Marvel fanboy and blah, blah, blah. And which couldn't be further than the truth. I want this movie to do good. I'm a huge Batman fan. I always have been. Well, I want this to do good because I want the universe to be cool.
Well, Affleck plays a good Batman when he's not upsetting 8-year-olds in the theater who are asking, why is Batman killing people?
Yeah, I hear Batman kills a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, like, he guns down a lot of people with the Batwing and the Batmobile. There's a scene where he's, like, stabbing people. Like, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, and Batman...
And it's PG-13.
Very early on in Batman's original incarnation in DC Comics, he killed people. Yeah. No doubt about it. But as that character evolved, he did not kill people. He got up to the point of, but did not, generally speaking, kill people. I'm not going to say he never did it, but he couldn't even kill the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're familiar with The Dark Knight Returns, this is sort of loosely, kind of, sort of, not really, totally at all based on, he doesn't kill the Joker in that either. As a matter of fact, the Joker kills himself, but makes it look, does it to make it look like Batman did. He breaks his own neck.
Yeah.
And hopes that Batman gets the blame. So, if Batman can't kill the Joker, how's he running around stabbing thugs?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, they have a lot of training scenes with him, showing him, like, jacking up and all that stuff, but I don't know. It just didn't make, the movie as a plot it was not coherent. It was very hard. They kept flashing back and going into, like, dream sequences where it wasn't kind of, telling the audience about it, so it would just take you out of it. You're like, wait, why is Batman in the desert right now? And then it's like, oh, I guess he was having a dream. You find out, it was really weird. The pacing was off. Wonder Woman, let me say, got the biggest cheer from the crowd.
I heard
her boobs.
No, I mean, like, when she came on, like, the crowd lost their shit. Like, that was the only part where I heard people really cheering
I heard the little bit that we saw of her. She was actually pretty good as Wonder Woman, and I'm interested in that. Look, she hasn't been on the big screen in forever. It'll be nice to see her. Hopefully, the solo movie. We got a shot of a still from the movie earlier this week. I think of the Amazons in the movie. So hopefully that's good. But what about the other characters? I hear there are other characters that appear in the DC universe
if let's do it this way. If they're crucial to the story or something like that, let's not spoil some of the surprises here. Let people who actually want to go out and see the movie.
Well, we threw a spoiler warning out there at the beginning.
I understand, but we don't have to divulge every single thing in the movie. We can work around things.
Eric, if you watch the video on YouTube that is all the trailers cut back to back, that's 15 minutes long, you will know more about what's going on in the movie than sitting through it for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh no, it's like the Terminator Genesis.
Dude, it just makes no sense. Like it's honestly, like I said, the first hour and a half is like a political drama, and then it just turns into explosions.
Well, I mean, we'll have to see how the ratings pair out at the end of the weekend. If you look at Twitter right now, if you look at the Batman v Superman hashtag on Twitter, it's still very much mixed. There's a lot of people saying they love it, and there's a lot of people saying it's terrible.
It's going to make a lot of money, because the theaters were packed. Every single screen was packed when I was there.
Although, I wonder if there's a huge dip-off next weekend.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? If it has an explosive first weekend.
There might be a huge dip-off by Sunday.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, everyone's going to see it too, but I don't know. Lois Lane kind of annoyed me.
Right.
Let's go to our pal Lisa Correa, who also saw Batman vs Superman.
Oh, yay! Finally, someone who can share in my heart.
Lisa, how are you?
Oh man, you guys, listen. I'm good. We have to get cut to the chase here. I like a lot of crappy movies. I'll watch crap, but man, there was just some stuff I could not get over in this movie. Like, clearly, if you're going for special effects, it's all great,
sorta
cool stuff to look at. But, okay, you already gave the spoiler warning. I'll just say, it's like they're fighting and they want to kill each other, and then, just like that, they're like, oh, we're friends. I'm like, wait a second.
Martha? Martha? Your mom? Yeah. Oh,
Just
sorry.
Like a few more minutes of, no, really, I'm a good guy. No, seriously. And then, no, they just became best friends.
Just like brothers. I'm sorry I tried to hit you with a part of a semi.
No, you know what it was? Right it was Will Ferrell and Step Brothers when they're like, oh, we like this. Oh, I guess we're best friends now. No joke. That's how it happened.
Okay, you know what needs to happen?
I just was going to go.
Exactly
you know what needs to happen now? Batman and Superman doing boats and hoes.
Oh my God, that would have been a much better movie.
Boats and hoes.
They could have Aquaman like bring beverages. They got Wonder Woman there.
Boats and hoes, and the beats all off.
Oh no!
It was just it just didn't make sense.
Oh.
They're so emo.
And all the jokes fell flat. Like no one laughed at all during the movie.
There were no jokes.
There was no jokes.
It was sad. Oh.
Let me ask about product integration. Was there a lot of that?
There was definitely a couple of shots. There was a shot of like Lois Lane in the bathtub, and like it zooms in on an oil of Olay bottle like behind her, kind of close, and you were like, oh, that was a really weird product placement.
All right, I guess what I'm getting at is, how is Turkish Airlines featured in this movie?
Well, Wonder Woman gets on Turkish Airlines, which makes no sense because she flies an invisible jet.
Yes,
That's what I wanted. I wanted to see her invisible jet. Well, I guess you can't see it. But,
but when you just see somebody in a sitting position flying through the air all awkward...
Exactly.
Sure you could see it. You do that. You use the Predator stealth technology.
Exactly.
That's how you see it. And then
I like my idea better that everything's invisible except her, and you just see her in a squat position and she's just floating through the sky like a ghost.
Sylvester Stallone
really cool
just looking up.
Over your head.
And also, it felt like there was a million endings. Like, not only did the villain look like one of the characters from Lord of the Rings, but it had the Lord of the Rings ending where you're like, oh my God, how many times is this movie going to end?
One thing that
hold on. So you're saying there's a lot of false endings in this movie?
It's not even like false endings. It's just like, get over it. Like, just end this movie already. I think that's what it is. I think it's more of just, please, I want to get out of this seat.
And one thing I'm going to say, and this is, even if you love the movie, but just to save yourself the time, there is no post-credit stinger.
I didn't care.
No, it's been confirmed. There is no post-credit
I could not wait to get out of that theater. I pushed the little kid down the stairs. I'm like, I gotta go.
Giddles was walking out 4 times, and he's like, shit, it's still going.
Dude, I was so angry, I almost beat up an Elmo in Times Square when I left.
Giddles started like in the 3rd row center, and then after each false ending, he was moving back rows. Oh,
it was so bad.
You're trying to get to the parking garage before the band play the final song so you can beat the traffic.
Did anybody throw anything at the screen?
No. People, there was like people who got up like during the middle of the movie, and I thought they just went to the bathroom. They just didn't come back.
Wow.
Like I said, there's some really
how
bad
packed was
walls.
the theater for an afternoon showing on the opening day?
It was packed.
I'm sure it was packed.
It was packed. Like every seat was full. Like I said, I mean, the line was mayhem there, like at the theater. So every seat was kind of full.
Yeah, it was sold out. I went to the IMAX in Fort Lauderdale, which is huge, and it was completely sold out. So it made it fun to sort of view with a lot of other people who were equally as disappointed.
Oh man.
So, yeah, at least there was some camaraderie.
That's how I felt. I felt like there was a good amount of people who were there. Were like, oh, at least all these other people were here with me.
Lisa, hang on the line here. We're going to add in Garrison from Wisconsin has a question for you guys. Garrison.
Yeah, I'm just curious how Jeremy Irons played Alfred. That's pretty much the only thing that I'm interested in the whole thing.
Well, I thought Jeremy Irons was actually really good as Alfred. He had maybe 4 minutes of screen time in the entire movie.
Really?
Oh, that's disappointing.
He really wasn't in it that much.
At least one moment when he pulls Batman aside and goes, hey, get your head out of your ass. This guy's a good guy.
No. No, there is a cool part where he's like working on the microphone that's built into the bat suit, so it gives Batman the deep voice. I thought that was kind of cool. That was like a good explanation for why Batman's like, hey, what are you doing? You know.
Can I read a quick online review? I want Gittles to comment on this review. Batman v Superman was the most amazing film experience I've ever had. I can't say much without spoilers. Definitely go see it.
That is a bad review. That is not even true. None of those. I don't even think those are words.
Was it signed Ben Affleck?
It was not. It was random Twitter dude.
Listen, he was the best part of the movie, and what I was saying earlier was that, like, you know, they showed a lot of scenes during the trailers that are really big, pivotal scenes in the movie where you're like, oh, it's just Batman beating up a room full of people. No, that's like a really pivotal scene in the movie. Like, they're just throwing it into the trailer because they needed something to happen. Because otherwise it's just, oh, look,
this
Batman
cocktail
doesn't
party's
like
going on forever.
Ugh, yeah. Oh, man.
Let's bring in Anna from Chicago. Anna.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So I think that there's something that's being missed. I saw this last night. I thought it was fantastic. I am primarily a DC fan. I really wanted to like this movie. There are some things you have to suspend disbelief. One of them is definitely the whole Martha thing.
Oh, my God,
Martha. I think a guy flying is suspending enough disbelief.
Yes, and that's true. But when you take it in that context, that's always the issue that I have. It's that, you know, you're okay with him being from another planet and flying, but you're not okay with
his mommy issues.
Bonding. Yeah, with his mom, with both of their mommy issues. So by and large, though, I really liked it. What I think you need to keep in perspective is that this is a different movie for a different time, especially when you're talking about what Jesse Eisenberg brought to that Lex Luthor role. If you look at where we were in the 20th century with Lex Luthor being this business guy, all of our business evil men, they were all older. They were all these kind of stuffy financial people, whatever. Now we're looking at the millennial generation. You know,
you're looking at the creator of Facebook pretending to be Lex Luthor.
Exactly, and that's exactly what it is. And he's the guy. He's kind of the same guy, and I kind of found him to be really creepy and fantastic in that role.
But
lastly,
oh yeah, go for it.
Batman. That was the best Batman. I did not want to like Ben Affleck. I don't like him.
He was good.
Yeah, he was.
The Batfleck.
I cannot wait for him to see him. And Jeremy Irons was fantastic too. I can't wait to see him in a Batman movie. It's great.
But my big problem was, though, like, I don't feel like they really hashed out what Lex Luthor's plan was, other than to watch Superman fight Batman. Like, what was his ultimate end goal?
Well, I think what they were trying to say is he's got an issue with the power that Superman represents. And I think that, especially if it were someone like him, like Jesse Eisenberg, or like Lex Luthor, who had that kind of power, he would use it very differently. And I think he does not trust, or he didn't trust what Superman is supposed to represent.
Now, going back to the trailers, now this isn't, giving away anything from the movie because it's in the trailers. There's a scene where Superman is in the sky and he's having the fight with Zod, and they're like falling down to the earth or something.
Yeah, it's in the beginning.
But it cuts to Bruce Wayne helping somebody coming out like of a building that was destroyed, and he's looking up and seeing Superman. So is that what it is? He's just building up resentment that this guy's destroying everything?
Well, I think he is in the same, kind of in the same boat that Lex Luthor is, that he doesn't know really what he represents. I think he doesn't understand it, and he thinks that he has this power without understanding what his intentions are. And I also think that moment where he talks about Martha or whatever, I think he recognizes that Superman is actually, he's a human. His alliances are aligned with him. He's a person. He has a mother who is human, and I think that is what that whole thing represented. I think the other thing too that bothered me though was how many times do we have to see Batman's mom and dad get shot in the same way?
That was another complaint I had. I was just like, oh my God, how many times do we have to see Batman's parents being murdered?
Right, exactly. And in exactly the same way, every single time it kind of gets old. However, when you put it into context with what happens in the middle of the movie between the two of them, then it kind of made sense to me. So I think it's definitely going to be a movie that will put people... Marvel movies, for me, have turned into Pokemon battles. Like, it's nothing but, this guy can do this, has this superpower, and he's hitting them this way, and it's not interesting to me anymore. I think if you walk into that movie expecting to see what you see in a Marvel movie, you're going to be very disappointed. But if you are expecting to see something that's a little bit more of a with some superhero mythology behind it, you'll enjoy it more. And again, I can't say enough about how much I enjoyed Ben Affleck.
But what about like the mythology of, oh look, here's Wonder Woman like getting the files on Aquaman and the Flash and Cyborg, and that was just, I don't know, I felt that was really set up for the Justice League.
Well, yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, it's definitely kind of that ground that establishes for everybody how all these things are going to fit together. It's definitely a lot to jam into one movie. They could have done this. They could have. They probably could have been done without Wonder Woman in the movie.
Well, Anna, we got to move on. Thank you for your perspective. We do appreciate it. I want to hook you up with something. I think more of the mindset for adult movie viewing. I'm going to give you a copy of Minions on Blu-ray 3D, Blu-ray, and digital. All right.
That's awesome. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to put you on hold, and we'll get your information. Let's go to Ronnie in Middlesex. Ronnie.
Uh-huh.
Hi, man.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Yes, so I've been listening to everything that's happened in the last few minutes, and yeah, I don't know what she's talking about. That movie was completely terrible.
Right? I don't know, man. That movie was pretty bad.
Terrible. All I know is that I've been a fan of Batman and Superman since I was like 5 years old. I'm now 35, so I waited 30 years to see these guys on the big screen, and it sucked. Completely sucked.
I just, like, there was so many parts that just didn't make sense, and if you think about it, like, afterwards, it really doesn't make sense. Like, Batman's mad at Superman for destroying the city, and then Batman literally helps destroy the entire city at the end.
Like, hey, this is kind of fun.
Like, it made no sense.
One thing that no one did mention is I don't know how this movie failed with so many good people working on it. That's another thing I don't understand.
Well, it's got a $250 million budget.
Yeah,
it's got a long way to go to make up that money and then some.
I don't get it. I really don't understand. And I don't want to give away too much from the movie either, but the fact that there was a giant kryptonite spear was also retarded.
Oh my God, dude!
All right, don't go. Let's not elaborate.
Can I just say one more thing?
We gotta go.
Not to the caller, but just in general. Stop comparing this to Marvel movies. Please. I know that it's the natural thing to do, but stop comparing it to Marvel movies. First of all, you can't...
you can't compare it because they're good.
Well, it's... No. Hold on.
Give him 2 prizes.
Actually good.
Hold on.
They focus on character development and story rather than to put a clunky piece of garbage together.
All right, Ronnie, let Matt make his point.
No, I agree with you, Ronnie. I absolutely agree with you, but here's my problem. You can't compare them to Marvel movies because no Marvel movie for the most part, is the same as the other Marvel movies, right? Again, I've said this before about Marvel. Marvel is not creating superhero movies. Marvel is creating genre movies with superheroes in them. So you can't compare, because if you want to compare Batman versus Superman, you've got to pick one movie to compare it to. So what are you going to compare it to? Winter Soldier? Because that was probably the darkest, most serious Marvel movie to date so far. So,
how about Joy?
It was not.
You can't compare it to Marvel movies as a whole. You have to compare it to one type of movie because Marvel movies are all very different. You can't compare it to Guardians. I mean, of course it's not the same as Guardians.
It would be closer to like
maybe
X-Men
Iron
or something.
Man 2. That's about the only Marvel movie that wasn't that great.
There you
go. All right, Ronnie, we do have to move on, but I'm going to, since you had such a horrible experience with a bad movie, I'm going to hook you up with a good movie and give you a copy of The Big Short on Blu-ray and digital, all right?
Oh, cool. Okay.
All right, we'll put you on hold. We'll get your information. Lisa, I'm sorry you didn't like the movie as well. I'm not giving you anything.
Wonder Woman, though. I thought Wonder Woman was cool.
Yeah, she was great. She got the most applause during the theater. Like when she came on, like everyone like lost their shit and started cheering.
Yeah, she was awesome.
But it didn't explain how her lassos worked or anything.
No.
I'm telling you, next time, invisible plane. I don't want to see the Predator technology like Matt's saying. I just want to see this woman, sitting, flying through the air for no reason. I just want it to be awkward.
It's lazy Superwoman.
That'll redeem everything. All right, Lisa, we do have to go and take a break because hold on. We're going to talk to Melissa Benoist next, who's Supergirl on CBS, a Superman property that doesn't suck. And what are your plugs and everything? Where are you going to be?
I'll just plug April 24th in LA. I'm doing Patton Oswalt and Friends.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Good for you. Tell him we said hi, and next time he's in New York, come on the show.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
Bye. And Lisa Crail on Twitter and Instagram as well. Follow her there. All right, we do have to take a break. When we come back, like I said, Melissa Benoist will be here to talk the big the Supergirl Flash crossover, which is happening Monday. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome right now Melissa Benoist, right? Making sure I got the last name correct?
That's right.
Everything Supergirl is this woman right here. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
This is amazing that Supergirl is what it is now, because they've tried doing various incarnations of Supergirl in the past, never really quite hit that stride that they were looking for, to making it a big deal, to take it seriously as a character as far as film and television goes. But here you are and you hit it.
Yeah, here we are.
It's amazing.
It's kind of crazy.
I want to ask you, starting off with, everything. I was there at Comic-Con for the panel that you guys had announcing everything. And what was it like when you get this job and you know it's for Supergirl? A lot of maybe not so much nowadays, but back in the day when you'd say, it's not Wonder Woman, you're Supergirl, so it kind of seemed like a lesser Superman version. Seems like when you were getting the job and they were building the show and everything, there was a lot of doubt built around the show. Like, I don't know how Supergirl's going to do, because Superman has a hard enough time as it is, outside of, say, Smallville, keeping an audience, people being happy with the direction that the stories are going, the comics, the movies, things like that.
Right.
You'd think it's the biggest known franchise there is as far as comics, maybe next to Batman, and it always seems to be struggling and having a hard time. Was there a lot of doubt, a lot of criticism about launching Supergirl?
I don't think that the team that was helming it felt that way. I think that because I didn't know that there was a Supergirl comic before I auditioned for it. And while I was reading about it, reading up on it, going through the auditioning process, her specific story is so rich, and she's been through, I just think the fact that she spent 12 years on Krypton before she ever came to Earth is such a big deal, and so traumatic, and she has just a lot of room for really wonderful stories, and how she deals with being on Earth. And I think that our producers Greg Berlanti and Andrew Kreisberg and Ali Adler and Sarah Schechter, they all saw that too, and saw that there's a lot of heart to this character. So I don't think there was ever really a doubt in our mind that it would speak to people. I think we were all just really excited about it, to put our spin on things.
Well, when the show comes on and a lot of people, and by people I mean comic book fans and what have you, were very surprised about how, wow, this isn't that as bad as we thought it was going to be, or it looks like it has some room to grow here. And especially within the last 4 episodes, everything that's been going on has really kind of secured that they know what they're doing with this show and where they're going to take it. I was really happy with a lot of the stuff that happened in the last 4 episodes, which we'll get to in just a little bit. But Supergirl itself, under the shadow of Superman, what was the mindset that you guys had going in with the character? Like, all right, there's a lot of references to Superman throughout this first season. Obviously, you don't see him, but you're still sort of under that shower. Yeah, you're shadow. You are Supergirl, but there's still Clark Kent. There's still Superman. What was the mindset going through as far as how are we going to develop her so that she gets out of his shadow?
Well, I think that the only reason she is in his shadow is the fact that by the time she got to Earth, he had already become this hero,
right?
And showed himself to the world and was doing ultimately what she was sent to Earth to do. So she kind of made that decision to really keep herself in the shadow. And I think what we wanted to do from the get-go was spend this whole season ruminating and marinating really in what it means to be a hero and what kind of a hero she wanted to be, and that it wasn't going to be easy for her to figure it out, but that she wanted to figure it out on her own, and that it is her story and her version of saving the world the way she wants to do it without his help.
I like in the last few episodes where she started to come to some realizations, maybe through some help of Reb Kryptonite, where you don't have to just be doing everything to make everyone happy. Even though you're the role model, you're the superhero, you're the good girl. You want to do things for yourself, and it's been expressed more and more over the last few episodes here, which I think is a great direction, so that you're not fitting the mold of, no, Supergirl does this, and she says this, and she only fights these kind of people. Opens up, yeah. Totally.
I completely agree, and I also think that the first half of the season we really dealt with that she's so intrinsically good and just innately a positive, optimistic person, but doesn't always necessarily think of herself first.
Right.
And that's the only way that she's truly going to ever be the hero that she wants to be, is to kind of follow her instincts and be her own Supergirl, like she said in the show in the past couple of episodes.
As we said, with the shadow of Superman cast over this, she doesn't feel that she's in the shadow of Superman. You know, people who are coming to the show, giving it a shot, they're like, all right, when is she going to become and make her own thing? It's not so much Superman, as I've seen, as it is her own mom. Because it seems a lot of these attacks that she's getting is always somebody pissed off at her mom.
Yeah.
And even though her mom was trying to do the right thing, it's like, well, it's not really Superman I need to step away from. It's like, I need to get out of my mom's shadow here and be my own thing. So every time you go out and try to develop your civilian life and your superhero life, somebody comes in and says, I hate your mom, and now you're going to pay for it. And then, all right. And it's at the point now where you kind of go, yes, I know she did something. Let's go.
Do you want to fight about it?
Let's fight. Let's go.
Well, I think that's part of what I love so much about her story, is that her roots to Krypton are so much deeper than Kal-El's and Superman's. She actually had a childhood there, and she knew what it was like, and she was there when the planet was dying, and knew what her mom did. And I think, that being said, a lot of other people know who she is, a lot of other aliens, and namely criminal aliens, criminals of the galaxy. So I think there's much more to chew there for her than there is for Clark, who was a baby when he left.
By the way, that prison that your mom sent everybody to, Fort Ross, not really the most secure place, because it seems everyone's breaking out of there. Everyone is breaking out of there, and like, oh, it's a horrible place. It's in the Phantom Zone, and this is where all the most dangerous criminals in the universe go. But they're all getting out, and they're all showing up and coming after you at some point.
Yep.
So there's a lot you got to deal with here, besides dealing with a bitchy boss in your civilian life and trying to make good there and balance regular human relationships. You got that chip on your shoulder to deal with your mom as well. Superman, not needed right now as far as anybody making an appearance in any form of Superman. Did they say that, look, we're not entirely opposed to it, like somewhere down the line that maybe there'll be a cross paths or something will happen?
Well, I know that we do. I love the little tidbits we get of him here and there because they are family. And I do love when they're appreciative of each other and you see that bond.
Right.
I know as of now, it's her story and we want to focus on that.
Yeah, it's too early for him to show up.
Yeah, she needs to figure things out.
I was just wondering if maybe when they were giving you the guidelines for saying, okay, this is the direction that we're looking to go with the character, with the show, somewhere down the line, we may toy with the idea of having him make an appearance.
You know, I'm not opposed to it. I think it could be really cool, but I do love the fact that it is Supergirl's story and that it's her journey.
Well, let me ask you this then. If he does make an appearance, the way the way DC is designing everything is that the cinematic universe isn't really at play with the television universe. Mm-hmm. So, as we see now, there's a new Flash for the movies, as opposed to the Flash who you'll be crossing over with very soon on Supergirl there. So, if they do Superman, they'd have to have somebody else portraying that. They wouldn't bring the movie guy in.
Probably not.
Does that ever sit on your mind like, there's no opportunity to maybe move into the movie, do a cross kind of thing?
No, I think that what we're doing in the TV shows, in the Berlanti universe of DC shows, I think it's really great. And I think we've kind of created our own little world within the DC comics. And it's a different aesthetic. It's a different, direction. I think I cannot wait to see Batman versus Superman, and I can't wait to see Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I think she's gonna really pull it off. But I think that it doesn't sit on my mind. I think both are, in their own respects, really wonderful versions of these incredible characters.
So no one feels that it's important to, at some point, like, because I know that's what Marvel is doing on their side. Mm-hmm. The TV shows do have references and points in the movies and things, like everything's got to be interconnected. Mm-hmm. DC's doing two separate lines with the movies and the TV. So I guess it's really, nobody's saying like, they'll put a Supergirl in the movie at some point, but people will know that you're Supergirl here on TV.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering.
Yeah.
At some point that's going to happen, and then you'll get people, why isn't she in the movie? Why, like when they do Superman, Batman, or Justice League 4 or whatever like that, and they cast somebody else in there. The crossover I made a mention to is happening on March 28th, which is exciting, with The Flash. Now this is happening on the CBS side. It's great that they got to this point, that you're actually doing some crossovers. Mm-hmm. I guess the obvious questions would be, one, would there also be some tie with the Arrow at some point? And would you show up on the CW properties?
I didn't even realize that Grant coming to the show and us doing a crossover was even a possibility when I first started this job. So I won't rule it out. I think it would be so fun to be on both of those shows and do crossovers with Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow, and I think it'd be so fun to see Supergirl interact with those characters. Is it a possibility? I have no idea business-wise, but I think the fans would really like to see. I think it's fun to watch all the crossovers, and I love watching Steven and Grant together, and hopefully.
When they made the nod to the possibility of a crossover on The Flash, he was jumping between Earths. In that little portal there.
There's a little Flash,
and there's a thing.
Supergirl.
There's the Flash. There's Green Arrow, and then off to the side there's Supergirl. Did you know that this was going to happen, or did somebody say they just showed it on TV? I guess this is happening.
I knew it was going to happen.
Okay.
I didn't know to what capacity. I didn't know. I knew they were using a clip from the show, but I didn't know what it was going to be used for. And it was so cool the way they did it. This little Easter egg, and you should have seen, like, my social media was blowing up when that happened.
Because I was wondering, I'm like, I wonder if she knows, because that episode was pretty, far ago, and then they just announced the crossover. The trailer just came out, which everyone's excited about. That if they threw that in there, I was just wondering, I'm like, I wonder if they even know that this is going to happen yet. Like, surprise, that's the way you found out.
About the whole crossover in general? Oh, no, we knew before that.
I think that would have been great if they did that. I mean, it's kind of dickish, but it's like, wow, that was kind of cool. I got to be part of that.
Yeah.
Recent stuff that's been happening on the show, Martian Manhunter has been a great addition to the show.
I'm glad you think so. He's such a cool character.
And it takes away a lot of extra stuff that your character doesn't need to be worried about or dealing with at the time, because focusing on the civilian side of your character and the superhero side, and obviously the fighting and storylines with family and aliens and all that stuff. But for them to do with Martian Manhunter as running that division of what is it, DO?
The DEO.
DEO. That sets up all these other stories that, okay, they're already on top of it and you can just jump right into it and go. So you're not sitting there like, oh, this is going to take 2 episodes to set up this arc and just to get to this point, explain who this character is, who this villain is, how it ties into Krypton.
Sure.
The Martian Manhunter was really a great addition to the show. The scene with dealing with your sister, I thought was amazing too. Where
her confession,
where I thought, because the way it was looked, I was like, you were about to brush her off, and then you did a complete 180, and like, that doesn't matter. We're moving forward. I can't lose you too. Like I said, everything in the last 4 episodes is really, I think anybody that still had any kind of doubt or criticism as far as Supergirl, was silenced in those last 4 episodes with everything that happened, especially the red kryptonite thing, showing a really dark side of everything. Definitely the smarter move, because the problem with Superman a lot of times people have that it's too clean cut, it's too bubblegum, too bright and sunny, and Superman always saves the day. And that this way you have some real inner turmoil and
some conflict for sure.
I was thinking it's the teen angst you didn't get to have. Especially when finding out with Indigo showing up, that the storyline says that you were in the pod leaving Krypton and you were stuck in the Phantom Zone, and she was the one who reprogrammed the thing so that you got out of there. Otherwise, you'd be trapped there for all time.
Right.
Which is why you didn't get older, and he and Clark did, because he was there before you and all that stuff. I think everything that's going on here, it's like they can't figure out another way to tie in Krypton. And they do, and it makes sense. It's not like they just keep going back to those stories or going back to those characters so everybody, get the whole Superman thing. Everything is great. Indigo, played by Kara
Laura
Vandervoort. Laura Vandervoort, who was Supergirl in Smallville.
Yep.
She was also Brainiac for an episode in Smallville.
Was she really?
Yeah, she played, she was possessed by Brainiac, so she played Brainiac in one episode of Smallville.
Right.
Indigo was a creation of, or a part of Brainiac at one point, and now there's word about a meeting with Helen Slater in a future episode.
Oh yeah, Helen Slater's there. She plays Eliza Danvers, Kara's adoptive mother, Alex's biological mother. She was in the Thanksgiving episode. She's fantastic.
But I'm sorry, I phrased this wrong. About all 3 of you are in a scene.
I don't think that they are in the same episode, but I don't believe that there is a meeting of all 3 of us.
Oh, okay.
I wish.
I thought there was, because I was going to say, what is that like to have the only 3 people to portray it? Right there is really a nice homage and a nice nod to respecting the history of that character. What was it like meeting Helen Slater?
She's fantastic, and she is sweet as could be, and always has. It's so interesting to hear her perspective on playing the character, Laura's perspective on playing the character. All 3 of us have had such different iterations of it. Helen's was this graceful, really majestic version of Supergirl, and she would tell me about all the training she had to do, riding horseback, doing archery, which is a lot different than the combat I've had to do and how I've trained for this role. Laura said she spent a lot of time playing her as kind of this bratty little sister and the adolescent version of her, really.
Right.
So it's fun to kind of compare stories and relate to each other and the similarities and differences of the character we've all loved playing.
Did DC get a chance to do a cast photo with all 3 of you together?
think we were never there at the same time.
Oh, man.
It's such a bummer.
You got to tell them for maybe the start of season 2.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Working on that. It's like, just let's get us all in the same room into one scene so that there's a photo and all the nerds can freak out and the internet blows up and have you. I'm running out of time with you, so a couple of quick things before you go. Usually what I do is I like to talk to people who have the jobs that you have in these superhero shows and movies. You get the merchandising, which is always really cool. I looked all over and I didn't realize your Funko Pop Supergirl is not coming out till July.
Yeah, I know. I think they're going to unleash it at Comic-Con maybe.
Well, we're going to be down there. I don't know if you're going to be down there, but
I believe
if you are,
so. I hope.
We'll make the arrangements. I'd love to come down and talk to you on the floor or wherever you are at San Diego Comic-Con and try to get that signed. Because I would love to put that up on my wall. I'm a big, like I said, this show turned me around, especially in the last several episodes. I've stuck with it, but then when all this was happening, I'm like, I am so glad this paid off. Everything was so great about this show. Your husband, who you met with, for people who don't know, you used to be on Glee, and you met him on Glee. He was, I forgot his character's name.
On Glee?
On Glee.
Ryder.
What does he think of the costume?
He was actually with me the first time I tried it on. I went to Colleen Atwood's house to try it on, and he was there, and he didn't say anything when I walked out of the room and I had it on, but I could tell that he was really taken aback.
Okay.
And I think both of us were really overwhelmed.
Has it changed anything in your life? It's like, why don't you wear the costume today? Or did you not do Halloween?
That costume is under lock and key.
Oh, really?
It is impossible for me to wear that outside of the Warner Brothers lot.
Okay. He never said, hey, you know what, for Halloween, why don't we get a Supergirl costume?
We joked about it, but I don't think I would ever be
Do you know
allowed.
if you did that at this point at San Diego this year, dressed up in the costume, nobody would believe it's you.
I feel like you're right, and I kind of think that would be so fun.
You could do one, because every year there's always a story of a celebrity who snuck onto the floor and nobody knew it was them. Matt Smith, who played Doctor Who, had a Bart Simpson mask, but he was wearing the doctor suit and nobody believed it was him.
Didn't Bryan Cranston
dressed up.
Heisman?
Yeah, had the pork pie hat and everything, walked through, nobody believed it was him, because the cosplay is so strong. If you do that this year and just have, like a little, somebody taping you, you have somebody doing a little video a few steps away from you, everything, and then you do the big reveal online later that day, place will go nuts.
You think that no one would, my face is right there though.
Yes, but you're on the floor of the place where everyone would never expect you to be in costume because everyone dresses up. I'm saying that's an interesting experiment if they do allow you to do that. Just walk through the floor. I bet nobody recognizes you or say, oh, I love your costume. Can we just take a photo thinking, oh, this is somebody with a really cool costume. Like you're a really diehard cosplayer. See if you can do that.
That'd be cool.
I think it would go nuts if you got that video up online. Melissa, we're out of time, unfortunately. Thank you so much, Melissa Benoist. The show is Supergirl, Monday nights, 8 p.m. on CBS. March 28th is the big Flash Supergirl crossover. You definitely want to watch that. Now, your social media, real quick. What I found online and what's on the CBS page are two different things. So I'm just making sure your Twitter and your Instagram is your name.
Yes.
Okay, Melissa Benoist. Because on the CBS page, it says for your Twitter, it's MM Benoist.
Oh, that was a previous.
Okay,
handle.
and your Instagram is M Benoist.
Those are gone.
So, so it is Melissa Benoist on social media, Twitter and Instagram. Hit her up, tell her how much you love the show, and we'll look forward to talking to you at San Diego Comic-Con.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much, Melissa Benoist. Supergirl crossover with The Flash. Monday night, 8 p.m. on CBS.
Yes.
And then thank you to Tom Hiddleston. I Saw the Light out this weekend. You should definitely check out the, what's wrong?
What is that noise?
What noise?
Is that my phone? What is that?
Oh, that's my phone.
Oh,
never mind.
I was like, what is that noise?
I see you freaking out like you can't hear yourself.
I thought it was my phone. I was like, what is that interruption?
That means I need to take my medicine.
It's the bat alarm.
Or I get back to the crazies. Tom Hiddleston, I Saw the Light out this weekend. Definitely a nice alternative to Batman vs. Superman. Would you ever think you'd hear us saying that? Yes, it's true. It's Erik Nagel across the board on all social media. Let's go around the room. We got to get out of here. Matt OG, plug.
GeeksFOG, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and make sure you're following the Batman v Superman hashtag on Twitter for all the reviews. Some are very
And these aren't the critics' reviews. These are people who are coming out of the theaters right now and saying what they think about the movie.
Some bad, very funny.
Giddles?
Giddlebase on the Twitter and Instagram. If you want to send me any hate for my review of Batman vs. Superman, you can do it there.
All right. We got to get out of here. Next week on the show, we're going to participate in the Road to WrestleMania as the boss. Sasha Banks will be joining us and a couple other things to give away and all that kind of fun stuff. All right? All right. We got to get out of here. Till next time, be seeing you.
It's Erik Nagel. And that's all the time we have. Follow the show at It's Erik Nagel on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Unless we do something stupid or something better comes along. We'll be back next time here on